I might know a thing or two. Got it. Thank you, Tim.
Hey, Alexa and Razarin.
Hide video panel. Not the one I was looking for. Okay, that one. Got it. All right, this is us. Wow, look at that video. Guess what is up? That is Kalispell, Montana, believe it or not. Gorgeous. Looks like the real thing. Got it off Canva. Thank you so much. The agenda for this evening, 6 to 9 we meet. We're going to be probably using up the entire 6 to 9, not to present, but to present and then answer any questions, talk about things as we move forward. So the things that I have earmarked for this are to introduce who are we, right? To review the event. So I have a day-by-day breakout of exactly what we did in the event that you ever go to a mastermind of your own, or if you go to community camp next year. So they are preparing for community camp 2024. Pace is actually trying to buy property. That's how committed he is to it. So we're going to review the event so you'll know exactly what everybody was doing every single day. We're going to do highlights from different people that really, I guess, impressed us or made an impression on us. A couple of announcements, right? So after you go to something and everybody says it's life-changing, what next, right? What's coming down the pipeline? What was inspired at the event? And then the last thing is, if there's time or if there's not time, I would like to try something. So that's the agenda. Questions, comments, concerns? I can't see any of you, so speak up if you need me. Moving on. We are Subto New England. So Subto New England covers all 6 New England states: Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. There are 3 regional leaders. It's myself, Zahid Abid out of Maine, and Justin Tuminowski. The 3 of us run Subto New England, and I think we do a bomb.com job of it. One of the goals that we have coming up, especially after this community camp, is the 3 of us need to be a little bit tighter. So Justin actually invited us to go to Wells, Maine at the tail end of his family trip, just so we can be part of his extended family and mastermind what we're going to do coming out of community camp. But we have some really exciting announcements that will roll out. And again, this slide deck will be available to everyone, such that if you need to reach us, this is our contact information included here. Good, good. Today is myself and Justin will be presenting on our take-homes from community camp because we went together. So a review of the events. I put together this schedule just to show you what it was. So we actually traveled for 6 days, Tuesday through Sunday. The stuff that is highlighted in blue is what community camp was. So on Thursday, there was a golden ticket event, and then we did dinner at Jerry Norton's Lake House on Lake Blaine. So 2 events. On Friday, there was another 2 events. So Bob, I call him Bob the Builder, or I feel like everybody does. But it's Jerry Norton's brother, Bob, who does spec homes in Kalispell, Montana. So they toured his property, which I think was $6.5 million new build. And then afterwards, we went to another brother of his, to his farm, and we had a charity dinner with Tim Ballard, which I'm sure a lot of you heard about. And then Saturday was the last day. We ended up having a scavenger hunt. So those were the 3 days reserved for community camp. Outside of that, people were welcome to travel to Glacier National Park, which is stunning, or to explore the city. There were a couple of 3 additional events that were kind of invite only. So on Wednesday, there was the dinner before the whole community camp kickoff. We called it the counselor dinner. So there were 10 of us that were invited to have a private dinner with Pace and Jerry Norton and to talk about what was coming down and how we can help make this event a success. On Friday, there was a private seller appointment that Pace took us on. I think about like 25, 22 people went to that one. And then on Saturday, there was an invite only mastermind at Jerry Norton's house. I think about 13 people went to that one. So these are all 6 days. We obviously went in a day or 2 early, and then we left the next day. Very full trip. I'm not even gonna lie, I have withdrawal symptoms after 6 days. It was awesome. Any questions? Hearing none, moving on, but I also have hearing problems, so shout louder. First day was Tuesday. We flew out 5:30 from Boston. We arrived, got in our Turo. We went grocery shopping, checked into the Airbnb, went to dinner at a place called Moose Saloon. So
No
this
one
is us.
slept. No one
This
has
is
slept.
us. This is us on the first day. The first flight, I think we were alone because who travels at 5:30 in the morning? Justin Tuminowski and friends. And then the second leg of the trip, we actually were privileged enough to sit behind Effie. Effie actually has a podcast, What the Effie. She has sass up and out the wazoo. Was really nice to be able to connect with her on the second flight. Flying in, we got our Turo. I took pictures of their garbage because I think it's hysterical. I'm just telling all my friends that this is bear proof garbage, which it's not. It's just, I guess, a more sane way of doing garbage. Snappy Sports Center, was dying to go here for the used gun sale. Did not happen, but it will be on my bucket list for next trip. And then we ended up in, this is their pizza joint that was popping on a Tuesday night. It's both casino and bar and pizza saloon. It looks like a converted horse barn, and there are shavings on the floor. So if you want to drop your peanuts from the bar or just drop your whole dinner on the bar, I guess you can. And I think once a week they change it. It was good that we actually went here because the following night, the catering for the private dinner fell through. So we ended up having dinner at Moose twice, essentially, the three of us. Anything you want to add, Justin?
No, yeah, I would say like you went right by it. So you're going to go, well, no, you're going to probably go into the, Jerry Norton's counselor kind of deal there. So we'll revisit this, but yeah, this place was pretty gnarly. I was going to say this photo is really bright. I don't even think we could see the pizza or any food in front of us. It was so dark in there. It was like being in a barn with no lights.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
An experience for sure.
Guys, I mean, everyone's pretty sweet down over there too. The people were great, little bit different pace, but this was probably the only place that stays open too. Everything closes like 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And yeah, daylights, sun goes down at 10:30 p.m.
So we rocked around. I don't know what else we did, but I just remember like going to bed at like midnight, 1 o'clock every night. I don't know what we were doing besides staying up and just yammering the entire time.
Because I yell at everybody and say, you have to keep thinking we're here for a small amount of time. We're here for, we're blessed to be here. We're grateful to be here. So sleep is like the last thing we really want. In my opinion, we need to absorb and have the most fun and each other.
One of the highlights of this trip is absolutely Justin Tuminowski and his wife. The people you travel with totally make the trip even better. So yes, super grateful to them, super grateful to have Justin ripping me out of bed the entire time, forcing me to stand up and get back in the game of socializing. A lot of people here know that I'm a little bit of an introvert. And so my battery runs out at some times and I just want to go home and get cranky. But it was a phenomenal space to be in. The people that were there will blow every follicle off your body. This was a very impressive turnout, all because of everything that Pace put together. Anyway, day 2, which is the pre-community camp day. So all morning long, we were trying to go to Glacier. And then we kind of threw that out the window because we said, we're going to Jerry Mother Effing Norton's house tonight. We need to prep. And by prepping, it was, we wanted to bring them a housewarming gift kind of, or a host gift. So we bought flowers for the Nortons, and then we wanted to bring gifts for Laura and the kids because they had been on the road for about a month so far. So go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, well, two things. First, we were gearing up. I did some work in the morning, but we were trying the whole time for me was let's get a deal. Let's get a deal under a seller appointment. And then we have content. If we can get a good deal, we can get Pace and whoever else goes. Great content, great giving. And I think that'd be, that's what we were trying to do, is just bring more value. So we got a seller on the phone that morning. And so I'm working with the seller and, my partners on the other end. And then at the same time, we're trying to get out of that. We're getting yelled at. No, we're trying to get out of the house, go to Glacier. And then, yes, that's when May reaches out and throws the wrench into the whole day.
Not a wrench, but like you need some help. Yeah, and the thing that we figured out was in Montana, I guess, not to be rude, there may or may not be a whole lot of nothing happening. And so half of the catering people that we try to order from, because we were like, dude, we need 50 dinners for tonight. Isn't that a great business? If every dinner is $20, that's $1,000 sale. And they're like, we don't have the manpower to deliver. So you got to figure out something else. So we ran through like a whole list of ideas. But anyway, we just recycled night before Moose's and did that again. But we went gift shopping like crazy, lunch at Sundrift. Then we have our counselor dinner at Lake Blaine. I took barely any photos. So if somebody does have photos, send me, I'll add them. These are the two shopaholics that went nuts in Montana. I swear to God, their entire tourist economy was taken care of this day with all the handmade soaps and whatever else you can hand make. I also thought it was hysterical. We went to what I'm calling the Mall of America / Kalispell, where they put security tags on the socks that are $7. But this is what's up.
Guys, there's still a JCPenney in town. So we took a trip back to 1991 and we loved it.
Yes.
But I think you missed right over yeah, gearing up. I know do you want to talk about the pre-counselor meeting?
So we'll get there because dinner is at night. Yeah. So we went shopping that morning. We had a quick lunch all along the way, taking calls, trying to get things moving between the three of us. And again, this is where I'm saying it's important who you travel with, especially like people that are on their A game. It was a privilege to travel with them and also look at the color coordination shirts. They don't do this on purpose. They're just in the zone. These two.
We bought matching hats for the next vacation.
Yes. So Sundrift, a local beer brewery place, super cute, went to lunch. After that, we ran home for a wardrobe change. Things that I don't know is fashion, and Tooms and Katie definitely know fashion. So the advice that was given to me that night was dress as if we're going to Nobu, not dress like you're a camp counselor. Don't be cute tonight. Tonight is like serious game face night. Which I very much appreciate because I usually dress like a relaxed lesbian, and the way you present yourself, I guess, matters. So bought flowers for the Nortons, gifts for Laura and the kids, packed up the car. And then this is Jerry Norton's house.
That camera makes it look really good too, but I mean, it does it justice.
So private lake, Kalispell, Montana, Lake Blaine. About 3 years ago, Jerry Norton bought the house. His brother, who ended up hosting the dinner, who has the farm, I think was out in Montana previously. And then Jerry was vacationing, stayed in an Airbnb and ended up buying not just this property, but 2 houses next door, bought an even bigger property. And then Pace is in the process of buying a house across on the other side of the lake, has, I think, like 92 acres. And of course wants to do community camp bigger and better next year, and is trying to purchase something. So there's a Subto student that's literally calling everybody who lives on the lake and making them an offer. It's a private lake. Nobody else can be on there. So it's super gorgeous. And then the view is just stunning because it's all mountains on one side and then the lake and then the house. So we were really privileged to be there. I cannot believe Jerry Norton opened up his personal house for all of this to take place. So one of the other, things that I have.
Yeah. So one side of that, so Jerry's on that side. The other side too, Suzanne, it was a lot of Canadians guys come down. So I think it's an hour and a half away. So a lot of Canadian, wealthy travel to the States. And this is where they might have a vacation home here. So that's essentially, I think he was almost saying like that whole side of the lake.
He says, half redneck, half Canadian money.
Millionaires. Yeah. Grizzlies come down from that side of the mountain too, where, they'll come on the other side. But he said that, the Grizzlies are susceptible to going on that side of the lake, obviously from the mountains.
Yeah. The thing that I couldn't get over is I'm at Jerry Norton's house on Jerry Norton's super nice, super plush boat, and he's driving me around. Sure. So that's the thing that was blowing my mind. was this super, super humble guy. I don't think he's used to exposing himself, sharing. I don't even think he has a community for flipping mastery, but again, because of pace, was willing to do all of this, which I think speaks not only to the testament of their friendship, but also what he's trying to do in the future, which is grow his own community to be able to touch and affect more lives. So this was a list, and I don't think this is everybody, of what we were calling the camp counselors, but essentially it was 10 of some of the, I don't even know how to describe this, but 10 of the more active, engaging, leadership oriented community camp invitees. So Alina Trang, Kirk Trang, her husband, Scott and Jess, Katie and Justin Tuminowski, myself, May, who is partners with Caroline Kane and also the personal assistant / executive assistant to Pace. Carolyn Kane, obviously, Dawn Tucker,
Yeah.
I think.
Carolyn
right?
and Myron, Ingrid, her family. Yeah. So there was definitely a few others.
Yeah, so I will totally add them to the slide deck. It was just me and my poor memory. But all of these people on the slide deck, as well as those that I forgot that I will drop in, absolutely a star team. What is it? What am I saying right now?
It was
A team people.
But
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, it was great. And it was and folks that we needed to be also meet as well. Like that's for selfish reasons. There was a few people that I specifically did not know and wanted to know. And so it was the best part of it for me, speaking personally.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Absolutely. I would say, and I'm not trying to be rude, but like cream of the crop. There are reasons why these people were selected to be there for Camp Counselor Night. Each of them really stunning individuals,
trust was a big
experienced,
thing.
generous.
Get into the trust reason why too. And I don't know if you're going to elaborate why some of us were there as well.
No, go ahead.
beforehand.
You can do that.
So guys, I don't know if there's any other slides going forward, but one of the things was, it was a personal touch. May reached out to everybody and said, hey, like Pace isn't personally inviting everybody here to a little kickoff dinner. So that's when Suzanne said, we were looking for 50 dinners. Well, yeah, the caterer that they had planned for us bailed. Then Suzanne, of course, like is the best person for the job, is like, hey, we need spur of the moment planning. Who better than Suzanne? So Suzanne ended up, and along with my wife and myself, that's when we said, all right, plans are off for the day. Let's go focus on, what we can do to make sure there's dinner and all the things, waters, sodas, everything's going to be taken care of. And that's what we did that day before. But it was really special. Went on the boat, very intimate. But the reason why they brought us there was to really say, hey guys, like, thank you. We love you. But also, if there's someone who's in the community that's quiet, there's 300 people coming to Jerry's house. And again, we keep reiterating that is a challenge, and that's a challenge for anybody. So it's not Pace's house, and it's his wife and his 10 children. That there's some vulnerabilities. And then if anyone knows who's been to some of the masterminds and some of the other events, I make no apologies to say there's usually one weirdo in the group. And there's been sexual advances, been sexual harassment. There's been all sorts of weird comments from people. So knowing that, they said, hey guys, two things, watch everybody, watch out for the kids, because there's kids here. And, let's make sure this house is treated with respect. And also if you see someone who's by themselves, doesn't have a friend, doesn't know anybody, needs community, that's when we step in. So, that was one of the big jobs. But, we were honored. We went out to Target it 15 minutes before it closed, running in there to get trash bags, trash barrels. We personally just bought for Jerry's house because of we need trash, we need bathrooms. We went to the tours, we bought sign. Everybody pitched in. So it was the camp counselors at the end of the day, who, it wasn't just Caroline and May, although they kicked everything off. It was the support. We were their support system. So super blessed and super privileged to actually, I was the trash man all weekend. I said I was the trash guy. So cool.
Best trash guy I've ever seen. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of gave up and petered out at the end like a toddler. But it was it was a long day, but at the same time, yeah, it's insane. So one property hosting like 200 to 350 people, 3 decks, children abound. And yeah, his private residence, they tried to get porta potties, couldn't get it. Obviously you need something like that for them. They ended up getting food trucks to feed everybody as well. And then the entire time, I think he ended up, oh, no, that was later, but he drove us around on his personal boat. Oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. I'm thinking about the next time we were there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We went out on his boat. Everything was intimate, bomb.com, pretty much getting us ready for the next day and everything that was to come, which is 350 people at Jerry Norton's house and making sure we don't trash the place or overrun it. Good.
Cool.
But everybody on this slide deck, I promise you, you want to know. Yeah. I just realized I'm missing the Brileys.
Yeah, you are. We mentioned it earlier.
Shame
Ingrid.
on me. All these people, I promise you want to know, they are instantaneously best friends. Everybody wants to be friends with them. Quality, high quality people, super nurturing, super sweet, caring, the whole 9 yards. And one of the reasons, again, why Pace made it a point to do this is because Astro people came. I don't know, but they seem to be really introverted people to me. Vina Jetty's people, multi-level marketing people came. I don't know who else came, but Dealmaker Weekend people came. Maybe Flipping Mastery people came. I'm not sure, but there was just a wide variety. And then of course, Subto, we're very like social, outgoing people person because of what Pace tells us to do all the time. Sorry, my dog's acting up. I'm gonna hold him again. Thursday.
Keep going.
No, you.
Yeah. So we'll hit the next slide. So we got Golden Ticket Thursday, food trucks, Lake Plain. So guys, the Golden Ticket event is just that event. So it's everybody who's invited. Laura ended up doing a cherry picking day for, the spouses and the children. And then we went to the Hilton, conference room, and that's where we had the event. So really, if you, in retrospect, you look at it, it was like really just one day of education for the most part. And it was 3/4 of a day. I don't think it was even a full day, but that was essentially like the crash course mastermind, speakers. And yeah, I hit the next slide. So this is essentially day 1, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Pace comes out full cowboy wherever he goes. So, he always like dresses for where he's at. He's in Miami. He's got his Air Force Ones, and sometimes obviously Arizona. Like, it's funny, but he's going to meet a seller. This is how he looks. He's fitting right in. But he also said he wasn't going to really speak. He wants everyone else to speak. So he, although he gave probably a total of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, he didn't really speak as much as he could.
Yeah.
But he kicked it off.
This day was supposed to be from 9 to 12. It was just supposed to be the morning and then have lunch and then do networking. But the caliber of people there, the things that people wanted to say, everything ran over. I think we stayed in there for like 6 hours by the time everything was done. And we actually, did we stop during lunch, or it was a lunch and learn? Or maybe it was a working lunch. So nonstop. We only got halfway through the speakers list, such that the next time we got together at the charity dinner, they ended up doing speaking before they ended up doing the remainder of the speakers at that point in time. So very nice to have all of that done for us to be able to have that space to speak. And so we want to go through the lineup of speakers and then some of the highlights that we got. There will be probably some questions here, as well as any of the other community campers that went. If there's anything that they want to highlight, by all means, please do so in the comments. I can't see the comments right now. So Justin, if you could
I got you.
Pay attention to that. But was it Cody that spoke first?
Yeah, Cody was up first. And this was probably one of the best ones. So everyone loves when Cody speaks, even at the masterminds, everyone gets the most value in my opinion, because he usually brings like the juice that you really need for your business. Some of the small shifts. So I think the real big takeaway, he went up real quick and he came down, in my opinion, real quick, got to the meat and potatoes, drew, as you can see, this graph, and it was revenue versus growth. So if there's one thing you could take out of this meeting, it's that simple. And even I hear it, I've heard this 4 times, and every time it still clicks in me, like, you forget it, but you're never your revenue will never outpace your growth. So you have to grow in order for that revenue to go up as well. It's that
Bom,
simple.
de novo então.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Eu...
Take a whole week off.
Mentira, você veio cá?
Who is that?
Primarily have
Get him tech support.
one of the
Nunca sei. Vai.
Alicia.
Oh, yeah. Vou ir na tua.
Celicia, mute.
It's
Thank
Stratton too. Stratton and Celicia. All right, so we're good. So yeah, I mean, that was it, guys. Revenue versus growth. If you look at that chart, you really can't see it all that well, but you know, most of us, he was saying, you know, we go up, we up and down, and then we usually hit a point. And sometimes you might go up with your revenue, but it's not sustainable. You have to grow. You have to, you know, do all those points in order to be successful. So you can always plateau and you can always stay where you're at, and great. But that was really, from my opinion, was the best of what Cody said.
Yeah, a lot of people really were, I don't want to say blown away by this, but it made an impact on them, right? Like your personal growth can never outpace, or your revenue can never outpace your personal growth. Not only did he talk about it as you, as like the leader of the company doing it, he also talked about your employees. So one thing that he said that I took away from it was, if your salespeople tend to burn out every 3 months, that means you have to get your what is it, recruiting process started so that it matches that, like attrition. As people fall out, you have new fresh blood coming in, because if not, then you go through this cyclical thing of like, why am I can't find my words tonight, but you go through the cyclical thing of like feast and famine, right? So one of the things that I was thinking of, especially as we come back to Subto New England, is I think probably once a quarter, I want to make some sort of post or some sort of speech reviewing what we have here with Subto New England, and also inviting new leadership blood into what we got going on. So hopefully you'll see that roll out in the future. I don't want it, you know, as we've grown over time, I've kind of like hand selected people and they'll come in and do their thing for a little bit. But what I would like to see is maybe once a quarter, offer that to everybody. If you want to be part of Subto New England leadership, if you want to support leadership, if you want to be engaged, by all means, we want you as well. Let's find a way to make that happen, because again, you'll see later, I talk about we have more together. So I love that he threw that out there. And then again, the whole revenue versus growth thing, not only is it something for you, but it's also for your employees. If you're not training your employees, you're going to be in a very bad spot. So he talks about like, people don't want to train their employees because they think their employees are going to leave them. But he says, yeah, what if they stay though? What if they stay and they're never trained? How is that any good for you? So a lot of people, again, he's the integrator behind PACE. I feel like a lot of us, there's always a visionary out there, and we're all searching for these introverted integrators that are hiding underneath a rock. Good Lord, people need you. Try to be a little bit vocal, or whenever you see a visionary searching for somebody, raise your hand. They are desperate to find you. They are desperate to benefit working together with you. But yeah, this was super powerful. Are we good? Is there anything else in the chat that we want to mention?
I'm seeing, I just got back here. Cody's talk, great. Cody's a genius. Here,
That boy is obsessed with cars, but we talked to him about putting out more content for us, because I hear it quite often that whenever Cody talks, a lot of people get smacked sideways in all the best ways. So we're pushing Cody. If you want to message him on Instagram and tell him we want to see more of his stuff. He thinks it's boring, so he doesn't really like to talk about it because it's the mechanics of stuff, but very, very helpful every time he talks. Yeah. Yeah.
His mastermind, the stuff in the masterminds for him, anyone who's been, same thing. It's usually the most powerful as far as like tweaks of your business. And it's the things that sometimes we just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And usually that's the stuff the PACE hype stuff is great. Gets us all going. But when it comes down to like, and I think Ashley said it too, is like, yeah, $1 per hour. If you want to make this is what you need to make per hour. And you can look at things in that aspect as well. So great.
Cool. Moving on. Then there was us.
Spur of the moment.
Go ahead. Explain. Tooms.
Yeah, guys, actually, so that night the night before the dinner, the camp counselor night, as we call it, it was labeled. PACE said, you looked at everybody and just said like, hey, we're going to pick 2 people tomorrow to speak. And, there's 12 to 15 of us. So like it could be anyone. And that's exactly what we thought. Suzanne and I were like, no, like there's no self-doubt, but it's we didn't have any expectations one way or the other, because everyone, in my opinion, was like the equal, could be anyone. And you never know what that man's thinking. You know, Katie, my wife, made a funny joke saying, like, she goes, guys, he's going to put me, like, she's pretty new to this whole, she's not new to him, but she's new to the whole thing. So she made the joke, like, could be me. What are you going to do? But yeah, as soon as we walked in, Pace walked right into him almost. And he's like, it's you, or it's you guys. So I'm like, oh shit. Okay, cool. What do you want? We had no idea what we want. Tell us what you want. And he said, let's go. And we ran through it. I recorded him right there on the spot. Like, tell me what you want. So it's about the community, of course. And then we worked it out right in the hallway, like patience, expectations, and monetize. Those are essentially like the framework. And then, yeah, Suzanne and I went in the hallway for another half hour or so just to collaborate and made sure we touched on certain points. But of course, you can't grab everything that this community has brought. So.
Yeah. So obviously we did this part. One other thing that came up was that there's quite a few resources that we have here in Subto New England. And when you look across the board of all the other regional leaders, they don't have what we have at all, not even close to it. And they're struggling. And I had talked to leadership where I told them, you know, for the next year, I really want to pour into Subto New England leadership. But, you know, Q3, Q4 of 2023, I need to start helping others see what we have, because what we have is working. So what's going to happen is in the future, and at the end of the slide deck, I'll give you information on it. But we're going to do a separate presentation just on Subto New England leadership. Obviously, we got called out at the last minute. We did our best. If you watch the video, please take a shot of whatever you're drinking every time I say the word right. And then maybe don't watch it. I don't know, but hopefully we're going to do a little bit of a better job, because we want to make sure that your takeaways are concrete. There's a better way to organize our stuff. It was kind of hard to distill the last 2.5 years in like 20 minutes on stage, but again, we did our best. So we were asked to present on patience, right? I told everybody pretty much I have 0 patience, but this position demands patience. So in the event that you run out of willpower, go home and do a little bit of self-care, right? That's what I end up doing, is I go through these cycles of mini burnouts. And then I always come back to the table, because I know what we have here together is way better than anything that I'm doing by myself. The second thing was expectations. One of the huge things that helped me a lot that I didn't get to address on stage was the upfront contract. It's one of my favorite things, to tell people straight out the gate, this is what I'm looking for. My time is valuable. And I can say that now because I'm 36 years old, and I'm not gonna lie, my biological clock is ticking to a certain extent, and my OBGYN is yelling at me. So half the time I'm like, I don't got time. Like, this is what's going on. You either do this or don't do that. And then one of the best things I think I also learned was from Tuminowski. He taught me this phrase, which was no love lost, right? There was a moment actually before all of this kicked off that Ari called me on the phone, and I'm in the middle blazing through all these slides. And I'm like, I love you so much. I am hanging up. I can't deal with this right now. Find somebody else. But there's no love lost between he and I for something like that. So setting expectations with people, I also call it managing expectations, and that upfront contract that Pace teaches. The last part was monetizing it. If you're in Subto New England, you know that we do deals together. We talk about the deals that we do. We know how much money each other makes. We want to make money with each other. And that's a very beautiful thing. In these other groups, and again, out in the regular wild, wild west of off-market real estate, a lot of people are thinking not with an abundance mindset. They're very protective. They're very stressed out. What is that thing? They act like a lone wolf, or whatever that expression is. You're by yourself. But we know that in working together and having these different avatars, and just in a normal transaction, there's so many different places in the transaction to touch, that even Justin Tuminowski, he has a full-fledged business with a whole bunch of team members, a lot of which are in our Subto New England group. And when they do a deal, they get paid out. He's very good about paying people for the value that they bring to him. So Justin is one of those that does a lot of JVs in our group, not just within our group, but like nationwide. And he's very successful at it, because he's very detail oriented, kind, considerate. He's always watching out for everybody because he understands what community is. And so one of the things that we talked about is if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go farther, you go together. And he gets that totally. So it's one of the reasons why we get to be successful up here is we have great people who really understand the things that matter most and act like it. That's all I have to say about that.
Good work. Good job.
Cool. Anything else in the comments that we need to talk about?
No, it's pretty much, yeah, everything's just pumping each other up. Everyone's kind
Okay.
of making good comments. So no, and that was it. I think, expectations we went through, monetize, you hit, you had a platform. It was great. Yes, it was off the cuff. And there's now we're going to take it to, what are we going to do? It's going to be like a 2.0 for us. It's going to be accountability, New England Subto 2.0. I think we're going to hit the next stride in the next, we're going to call it maybe the fall, Suzanne.
Call in the fall?
I forgot your hearing.
Sorry, hearing, sorry.
In the fall, we're
Yes.
going to probably we'll end up making that shift September-ish. I would say that we'll start kicking things off again for what we're going to collaborate on moving forward for the community and for everyone else.
We have some cool shit we want to do. One of my favorite things that Pace talks about is he's like, I want to do dope shit. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, let's do the cool things. But, you know, when you're in panic mode, when you're in crisis mode, when bad things are happening, it's hard to focus on that. And so by coming here to community camp, for me, you'll see by the end of it, I feel like I've released a lot of my baggage and therefore I'm able to move forward more freely, more excitedly, more creatively. So we do have some exciting things. So as I mentioned, we'll give you the video, be kind. One of the other things that I have for Subto New England leadership is I'm challenging all of our leaders. I want us on stages. It's what I call the stage project. It was something that I discussed with another regional leader, Jeff Hamilton, before, was that we need to be on stages. And this was after our big Creative Elite event. You're going to be great if you practice. And so we need to be out there sharing what it is that we do, because not everybody has the ability to do what we do. And then on top of it, they're not us. They don't have this higher level of accountability and what do I call it? Ethical compass. They don't have the ethical compass that we do. They're not into doing what's right for all parties involved. They're not seeing the bigger picture, but we do a really good job of that. So more people need to know about us. You will see us on more stages. You will see the Subto New England leadership presentation probably in about 2 weeks if I can get my SHIT together. So look for that, please. That's us. What's up?
Keep going.
Jerry
There he
Norton.
is. There he
Go
is. This
ahead.
one was actually, I think this may have been the best one that everyone loved, but next to Cody.
Why?
I know just Jerry and I think Cody were great for that day. I could just be personally biased, but yeah.
So Jerry Norton got on stage. Everybody presented for maybe about 30 minutes on whatever topic they wanted to present on. We were the only students, so our topic was given to us. But at the end of the day, like, we do leadership really well and community really well. So it's not a surprise that that was the topic. And obviously we can speak on it because we're doing it. But Jerry came on stage. He talked about, at one point in time, somebody had asked him what made him so successful. And he thought like, oh, you know, I'm doing flips in Michigan and then I work my way up, blah, blah, blah. And his wife goes, no, that's not it at all. That's not even close to it. She said, it's your risk tolerance. You, your friends, the people you surround yourself with, as time went on, your risk tolerance increased. And so he talked about this on the right-hand side, managing anxiety. And so he says, like, back in the day, maybe he was in Michigan, he was at a level 1 risk tolerance. And at a level 1 risk tolerance, he had anxiety about moving up to level 2. But as time went on, right, he went from the $10,000 Michigan flips to the $100,000 Michigan flips, $300,000 Arizona flips, 600,000, 1.1 million, all the way up to a couple million. And now he's doing 6 million plus. And so he talks about this, that as you move up to more expensive flips, competition is less and less. And so right now, in my opinion, that's kind of where his sweet spot is, doing these $1 million rehabs or $1 million builds, because he'll put in, I think the one that he's doing right now, he put in about maybe like 2 million and bought the lot for like 800,000, and he's making like 6 and change on it. right? So he's almost doubling his money, 3
I
million.
thought it was like a $300,000 lot and all in 2 million. And
Yeah,
he's
oh,
selling
that's
it.
probably it.
Is he selling it for 4 or 6 million?
I thought it was 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. There
The
was
other
a
one
lot
could
of
be 6.
numbers. It's a lot of millions. And I
Yeah.
believe this man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were impressed because what you find out, what most people know is half the time you feel really anxious, especially as an entrepreneur. There are days that you want to throw in the towel. There are days that you think this is too challenging and you just want to vomit everywhere. But what he's telling you is if you are feeling anxious, you're in a period of growth. It's not a bad thing. And as you manage that anxiety, you will level up in it. So that level 3 risk tolerance that used to make you vomit is going to bore you one day. And when you're bored, now you know it's time to move up to level 4. And if you want success, if you want your revenue to increase, your revenue increases with your risk tolerance. So you constantly have to be, you don't have to constantly, but if you want your revenue to increase your risk tolerance. You have to push yourself through the anxiety. So he acknowledges it, that it's there. And he says you constantly have to push through, work through it.
Yep. Well said. And that was another, moment. I think that was Katie's takeaway. And because we're always in this panic, and I've given her more anxiety about like the current business. And she said this morning, like she feels like she's at the max that she can handle. And I'm like, great, we're in a perfect. I love that. And then, tomorrow will be a little bit different potentially. So guys, if there's a takeaway, it's like constantly, if you're just living like, and I know some folks that just like to, don't want to stress it, don't want to push too much. No, you do too much. No, Jerry was saying this is where you need to live. And again, you're not giving yourself a heart attack and you need to do what you really, truly want to do. I happen to live in this place 24 hours a day. And that's all I ever know. But I love it. And that's all I ever knew. And when things are calm, I'm always like, we're all looking like, all right, well, something's wrong here. So Jerry hit the head right on it. Like just take it by levels and break it down to yourself that way. And if you feel like you can do a little bit more, do the next thing.
Yeah.
And don't be comfortable.
And if you need a break, take a break, but get right back into it if you want it. If not, stay at that level and just know you're at level 3 and you don't want to go farther, but you're also going to be at a level 3 revenue level. So eat what you kill. Any questions on Jerry Norton?
Jerry was so good. You would never have thought, there was like, you can definitely tell his community, he's getting more of this community vibe, guys. And that was one of my questions that you didn't really answer, but I wanted his take that I asked him. We were sitting front row. So we got pretty much just like yell. If we weren't getting chosen, we were going to yell it anyway. And I wanted to ask him, how are you taking this community like aspect? How are you growing? And he gave me just a generic answer, which I wish I would have like reiterated, but we were running tight on time.
Yeah.
Jerry's team. That's a great question, Claudio. I would imagine what Jerry's doing right now is he's doing a huge project in Puerto Rico, which is a hotel. He bought a hotel. Him and I at his house privately, whatever night that was, the camp counselor night, I had about an hour, 45 minutes with him and his wife, just privately. And we were just all powwowing. Katie was there and he went into this whole thing on how, of course he's in Puerto Rico with 4% tax. He bought a hotel. He's getting a grant for like 40% of that hotel, or he's getting a tax kickback. Like he was just layering and I couldn't even keep up with it. Truthfully, I need to see it. And he was just layering the benefits. He goes, hey man, if I break even on this thing too, like my tax incentives are insane. So it was one of those things where, I don't know his team. I wish I did ask that question. It's such a good question. And I did worry. He did have his assistant there and I saw him, but he was very quiet, very on the side. And it looks like for the most part, they're doing a lot of stuff. Their family essentially was on their own for the most part. But yeah, Suzanne, anything else you want to add as far as like Jerry?
No, Jerry is super automated. If anybody's part of the Flipping Mastery or just like on his drip mail campaign, he's super automated. He's super sophisticated in my book. His wife does a lot of homeschool and teaching of her 10 children. And I really think the way that they teach is kind of like at that homeschooled level. I'm not saying that it's low level. I'm just saying it's very easy to grasp and digest. And then he's very automated, but he does all of that because he's trying to protect his time with his children, except his baby daughter is now 2 years old and he's able to have a little bit more time. His wife is also able to have a little bit more time. I'm really excited with what she comes out with. She has this expression that Elena was talking about where she calls it fighting the from. She had 10 mother effing kids, okay? And she looks way better than I do, and I have 0 kids. And she talks about feminine energy and leaning into it and how she's inspired and she wants to do more. And so you may or may not see her do more. So I'm excited to see her try new things. Her name is Anna Marie and she's stunning. So you will definitely enjoy her if we get a chance to see her. I am moving on if we're good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, you might. I was going to say you could probably see her soon.
Next up was Vina Jetty. She has she does multifamilies. She has her own mentorship now because of PACE. I think it's called like multi-level multifamily, something like that. Very cool logo. She talked about relationships and raising money. She's the type of person who can chat anybody up on a plane. She said people fall into one of 3 categories. Either they are your investor, they know of another investor, or I forget what the third one was because at this point in time, I was trying to record video for content. My apologies. Help me, somebody.
So, yeah, I mean, so her securities attorney, and I think everything that he says is, what is the comment he makes? I know someone's going to know. It's like, not allegedly, but it's
Blame Nick.
No, when it's not blame Nick, but he says, someone's got it like technically every question someone asks him, he's like, technically, but it's not the word technically. I'm doing a terrible job too, but
Allegedly?
no, it's not. It's another lawyer term where he won't commit to an answer. Either way, super smart. And Vina's, of course, here. She shows up at the masterminds. Pace is highlighting her from obscurity big time. And there she's raising money. She's looking to raise $64 million, $65 million. Don't quote me. And she's just putting it into a large deal that I think they're closing this month or next month. And Nick just runs the securities. So he came on stage, offered some legal advice. I actually ended up buying something from him at the auction where he can, I don't know, he's like, I'll do whatever you need for like a document or LLC. So, yeah, just another guy, I think, trying to bring value to the community. They're bringing good people around, and we're now being introduced to those type of individuals. So anyone else has something to add as far as me? See, I have messages behind.
I'm going to go back to the
depends.
slide deck. I'm going to go back through the slide deck and add in their Instagram. So you can actually reach out to Nick on Instagram. He's super approachable, super funny. And then he's actually trying to grow his own brand. So I forget the name of his lawyer for his law firm, but he's doing a lot of branding with that. And then Vina Jetty, obviously, I think last November-ish, she started her community, and the beginning of January started getting traction when she was holding these live Zooms. I don't think she's regular just yet. She's a mom of 2 twins, and she says she's flying in and out, so it's very hard for her to commit to like a regular time a week. But going forward, obviously, she sees the power of community based on everything Pace has demonstrated to her. And then it was really sweet to see her with her like members kind of deal. Yeah.
Admin Katie. Katie's here. Sharkey, I don't know if you have your
Yay.
gallery up.
Jeremy from that.
Yeah. So yeah, Poly Math Legal is his website, I guess. So yeah, you want to keep moving?
Yes. Abraham Gray, the man who
Ooh.
can say the most amount of curse words and nonstop pacing on the stage. But the thing that I did not know about him, and later on I'll share more with him about him with you, and this was brought to me by Justin, is this man since like 19 years old had a card business that he had for like millions of dollars. By 30, he has bajillions of dollars.
11.
I'm doing a terrible job of telling the story. But he in Atlanta was buying like 1 house a day, 1 flip a day, like minimum probably about $30,000 in a flip, if not more. Right. So buying 1 house a day for a whole year. He has a social media company. He does a lot of businesses. I think he just bought his 17th business. A lot of his businesses are those axe throwing.
He has 40 businesses.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So he has 40 businesses. Axe throwing is one of the he was one of like the second or third operators doing the Axe game, also like escape rooms. He does a lot of gyms. He'll take gyms over. There was another one. He'll do like, golf, mini golf, putt. So he'll do most businesses that would probably not be in the Northeast surviving, year round. But yeah, Abraham's just straight up G. He's a sleeper in my opinion. He's been highlighted more and more. I've been around him more and more, and he's pretty quiet, but his presence, his actions speak louder than his words is what I have to say. And that, he did go into a funny story where it was very questionable. I think Pace was like, because there was some questionable, practices that he elaborated on where and Suzanne, if you don't mind, I'll just condense his story down. He went down to say, like, you just literally need to be creative in everything you do. And you just need to be creative. So look at all of us here. We're in creative finance. So, this story resonated with me where he was doing a fix and flip. Next thing you know, I think someone needed an electrical permit. The electrical inspector came down. They're like, the tree or a tree fell or something. He goes, screw the tree. I'm looking at a brand new house right here that doesn't have any permits on it. So next thing you know, he's like, I need to find an electrician to get me an electrical permit because they wanted me to rat out my electrician. They said, if you rat out your electrician, we'll cut you some slack. And which is absurd in general anyway. So he went into the story where he didn't want to do it. He was pacing the stage, and it was pretty comical, and he's swearing, and he was animating a lot more. And it was funny. And subsequently he ended up at the 11th hour, him and an assistant or a VA or someone went down the obituaries, and they looked in the last couple of months to see if there was an electrician who had died. And there were 4 of them. And he said they got to the 4th one. They all owned like businesses or not, or they wouldn't have been able to do those quotes. So if, they went down and said, maybe they were 80 years old and they weren't practicing for the last 30 years. But he goes, the last person had passed away, and he had a business, sole proprietorship business. And he could have been that person who may have done that work. So Abraham proceeded to tell everyone that he pinned it on a dead guy and got away. So there was ethics. People were like laughing, cringing, didn't know how to handle it. I think there was some folks like, are we promoting this or not? But he was saying, listen, I was getting in trouble. I had to be creative. And that was one way of doing it. So he also buys his businesses with really creative direct mail, really creative campaigns. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The guy has had and I told Suzanne this, and I think this is why she ended up doing what she did. He's had a hard upbringing, but that gave him his superpower on just dominating everything and anything he touches. And that's one thing that I'm taking away from him, because I share maybe some similarities to him, where you have a superpower of maybe a bad past that you can either choose to be, go cry and go in a hole and cry and say, poor me, or you could take it, harness it, and use it as a superpower. And Abraham is the guy who really demonstrated taking a superpower. And I admire that.
Yeah. Later on, you'll find something out about Abraham Gray. And so hopefully we should see more of him. I know a lot of you have probably used him as private money lender. Anytime you needed a proof of funds, he delivers. And he's very, communicative on social media, despite everything that he's doing. So yeah, obviously 40 businesses, social media. His direct to mail is so successful that spun off into its own company. That spun off into a company of its own. But yeah, super impressive. And then I adore his wife. More on her later. We're good?
One thing that I know it's not because of this, but guys, every deal he buys cash, his own cash. And one other thing I learned from him just being around him from a couple months ago, he also doesn't really always buy insurance on homes. And I can get into that another story, but I feel like making a video on it. His risk tolerance is so high that he goes, well, I own all these houses. If I don't buy insurance, he goes, I've lost 2 to 3 houses. Now, if I were to buy policies for all those houses, just think of like the shift where he goes, I save more than a house is actually worth if it burns down. It's just crazy. And it's a different level, but that just painted a quick little perspective on how someone of a higher level is operating, where they're not even buying insurance on homes that they own outright because it doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
Love it. Moving on. Oh,
Jerry Norton's neighbors in there somewhere coming over saying, what is going on?
so that was 4 buses, 3 or 4 buses that rolled up to Jerry's Lake House. This was the 300 plus, maybe like 250 people. I know that the farm dinner was like closer to 300, 350 people, but like 200 plus people all at Jerry Norton's personal house. Jerry Norton had his 2 brothers dump in to the lake 2 more power boats just to take everybody on a ride, which blows my mind, right? Like he's chauffeuring all these guests at his home that are just kind of overrunning it because he's friends with Pace Morby that convinced him to do all of this. So again, to me, it was a huge demonstration, not only in friendship between the 2 of them, but also support with your spouse. Because again, this is his personal home with his children and his wife. And they did an excellent job, super gracious. Obviously May and Carolyn Kane with all the logistics behind it, the camp's counselors that were, there. And then all the attendees, I think to a certain extent, understand the privilege that is being able to come here, not only to community camp where Pace didn't charge anybody anything to come, right? He footed the entire $130,000 bill and asked you, come pay for your way, but everything else, once you're here, it's taken care of, right? Very generous. And so I think a lot of people understood that, acted right. So it really was a beautiful time. And then everybody from the deal makers to the Astro flipping, who am I forgetting? It's on a list. Transaction coordination people were there, Subto people were there. Yeah, it was really nice to be able to meet all these people in a room, to be in this room, to be in this space.
Funny story, or those 2 guide, the 2 railings on each left and right side of that, guys, it looks like this. Yes. So the night before, we all look around and going, is this deck going to hold 300 people? And there's actually on the left-hand side, guys, there's sandbags holding the footings of the decks on, where then Jerry and everyone I had talked to someone as well, and they had their carpenter come back the next day and literally put like some of these railings and resecure things because it was a genuine concern that the deck might collapse because their house is under renovations right now. Pretty, again, like the things you don't hear about, the things that most likely, obviously everyone's being safe, but yeah, like you have to put temporary, railings up because there's people coming, there's kids coming.
Yeah.
Yep. Sharkey got a good splinter.
Gracious host.
Yep.
To temporarily put their house together to host all these people that are not even their community, to host all of their friends' people. That's a huge ask, and it's a huge demonstration of like the friendship that they have between the 2 of them, and then what they're working towards in the future, right? So this was insane, but this was very impressive to me. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No, nothing here. Let's see the slides.
Moving on, Friday. So Friday was the charity dinner day. We had a private seller appointment in the morning that was invite only. Bob the Builder, which is Jerry Norton's brother. We ended up skipping it and doing a taco lunch with Ingrid and Carolyn, and some other people too, which was awesome. I think essentially the camp counselor skipped it. And it was a little bit tough being out there because there was no shade and the sun, just Montana sun beating down on you. We ended up going to a taco lunch, and then Justin, myself, and Katie all went to the seller appointment because one thing that Justin does really well is he's always trying to give back. So with his team of Ted Miller, Chelsea Schleiback, I'm never going to get it, just fuck it. Chelsea and team were working on hammering this one seller that I think was in Whitehead, which is described as the place where the bajillionaires are pushing out the millionaires. So because of Tuminowski's efforts, we then went to go do a seller appointment. I think he also went to go look at land that day and then run home, get fancy for the farm dinner, have an auction night, and then we came home and had our own little game night, which was super sweet. So this is day 4, Friday. And again, it's Jerry Norton driving us in his family van. Like he's our driver driving us to the seller appointment, which just knocked my socks off. But there he is in his Sprinter van. This was posted same day.
Yeah. Pace's team had the drone out that morning, and that's all. We were just wrangling right there, sitting in So this gentleman in the pink shirt and the shorts, he thought he was getting 2 people who were coming to a seller appointment, and legitimately, Pace being Pace, everyone was making fun, going, of course, there's 25 of us. So the guy's like, yeah, cameras on him, because you had actually there was there was a few cameramen there, right? Everyone had their own type of like cameramen. So yeah, this guy handled it with stride, in my opinion, and allowed everyone to go there.
Yeah. Pace had his 2 people there. Jerry Norton, I think, is filming new content. And then it was the camp counselors. This is actually Doug Lanza's daughter. She's stunning. She's a model. So like camp counselor and family, plus all the VIPs for the most part, doing a private seller appointment. This seller appointment was not something I think they moved on. Even when you see it over here, they had just done the they just done the asphalt the night before, and it looks great. And so this is not really like a value add play. So it's not that sexy of a deal. I think that's one of the problems that we have here in Subto is we get so spoiled by some of the great deals out there that something that's a little bit boring like this, we would just pass up. But by the end of the appointment, Pace was like, you know what? I remember getting a DM from a guy who's trying to do a 1031 exchange, and a 1031 exchange on something like this. I think this is 1 point, however many million. He was like, this is the perfect play for them. I can get a wholesale free for him to the tune of maybe like $120,000 and make this work for me. Right. So it might not be a deal for you just because of everything we know in Subto, but always be thinking about your expanded network and helping, lift other people up to what you're doing. I get a lot of calls on people that are like, how do I raise private money? And I'm like, bro, just extend the invitation to them. You're not putting your hand out and saying, give me free money. You're saying, I got to spend this money anyway. Might as well me give it to you instead of giving it to my hard money lender that I can't even relate to. Right. So extend it out to give it to your extended network. There's always somebody looking for deals that might not be in your buy box, but totally fits them. And then Pace is a master, obviously, at making stuff work, right? Obviously, if he can't get a deal on this, that's fine. But he also got to film content there that day. That day, he also got to build relationships with that guy, the real estate agent who's actually a part owner in this business. So that's also a reason why the price was a little too high, is the owner is doing his best to get the maximum amount of money out of the property, which again, didn't make it that much of a sexy deal for Pace. Anything else we need to say on this?
Nope.
Okay, moving on.
We did not go to the mansion tour. So just to put it out there. So you guys know, they toured a mansion. It was Bob the Builder. Again, it's going to be a large build with a large price tag and a big profit. So there was things that I heard, just so you know, one of the bathrooms can fit, I think, 20 to 30 people in it. I guess it was 1 bathroom in this house. So put in perspective, I think it was 8,000. Again, someone probably here knows, but 33 people can fit in. Don, what was the size of the property? 8,000 square, 11,000 square, 8,000 square foot. So pretty big house. Pace's house is 11,000 square foot. So I'm always like I don't know too many houses that are that big. Oh yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. So think about it. Jerry Norton's house on Lake Blaine, then he has his brother's house at the farm. Then he has his third brother. I don't know how many more are there, but Bob the Builder building spec houses. Bob makes $20 million a year building spec houses. So anyway, that's where everybody else went. Everybody else went to that event. We ended up dipping out. We went to taco lunch with some of our camp counselors, had a lot of fun there. I don't even remember what we talked about. All I know is that Ingrid is dope, as well as Carolyn. I had the time of my life. I shouldn't say that, that's being a little too dramatic, but I had a lot of fun. And I think it was really time well spent, right? At the end of the day, you have the ability to make some really quality relationships with people. And so for me, I think I got a little overwhelmed with so many people being there, and I don't like to play that surface level stuff. I like to get deep. And so it was nice to get deep with these guys at lunch. So I very much enjoyed the decisions that we made. Afterwards, obviously, we did the seller appointment for Tooms, because he wanted to give that seller finance deal to Pace, and then ran home to go get dressed in our fancy clothes for the community camp dinner that we had at Jerry Norton's brother's house. So his brother is a venture capitalist. This is here, Brian Norton. His house, his farm, the nicest porta potty I've ever been in my life. That thing had music and a fan. and
wedding
probably everything else I
trailers.
needed, but it was amazing. It might even be handicap accessible. I don't know. It was amazing. I was blown away. So we all gathered on his farm. They threw up a huge tent. They catered the dinner, beautiful catering as well, like the kind of catering where you have like edible flowers, right? Like this is millionaire, multi-millionaire catering, very nice dinner, underneath a tent, and then buses upon
Imagine.
buses of people constantly flowing in. And I think this was the culmination of community camp to get everybody there. So I think maybe at Jerry Norton's house, we might've been like slightly over 200-ish, but according to other sources, probably about 350 people came through for that one. And we had it was a little bit of a star-studded event if you're in the real estate world in regards to bigger pockets and fancy YouTube people. So all the people who did not get to speak at the hotel were able to speak at the dinner because Tim Ballard was late flying in on his private helicopter. But it was awesome. So this was the pamphlet that they gave us at the front. It was really sweet. Itinerary was 5 o'clock starting and networking, introduction by Pace. Brandon Turner, for those that might not know him, we'll get to it. And then Tim Ballard presented. And then we did an auction, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, great menu. Talked about the organization, the rescue fund. So there's 2 of them. One is the Spear Fund, but the one that we raised money for is called the Rescue Fund. And we'll get to a little bit more on that. The inside of the pamphlet was talking about where we were. So this bottom picture over here, these are all the camp counselors on the private dinner the night before. I should have looked at this when I made this slide deck so I could remember everybody's name, but I didn't. And then they wrote about Brian Norton's farm, all the people that were coming together to support the rescue fund, which is something that Tim Ballard has organized. Any questions on this?
Nope. Is that the inner circle people refer to?
Well,
so
we call ourselves the camp counselors.
yeah, that was just a group photo. We did a prayer and we did a group photo at the end of dinner. And that was it.
It was really sweet. It was really sweet. Anyway.
After dinner where are the dinner pictures?
We're getting there.
Yeah. Claudio, take it easy. Yeah, let's move it forward, Suzanne. I don't want to, let's just keep the fast pace.
Yeah. So one of the first speakers was Spencer Cornelia. I will just say it. I wished he talked about YouTube and not house hacking. So his style over here is he has 491 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure this is more than Pace, and I'm pretty sure this is more than Jerry Norton. So obviously he's a big deal. He's not the kind of person that you want to be featured on his stuff. He's one of those people that identify scams or whatever. So it's a little bit of that. I don't want to say clickbait, but maybe I'll just say clickbait. You know, like when you go to the magazine racks at the checkout and it's like, oh my God, Diana Spencer / Princess Diana is alive again. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? I shouldn't say that. That's rude. Delete that. Anyway, that's his style. He was really big into house hacking. But again, I wish he spoke about YouTube monetizing. He did a great job, at least when he was speaking, where he kind of like left everyone on a cliffhanger. So again, I think I would have loved to hear him speak about YouTube, how to attract, engage, get the subscribers, get people's attention, because I remember reading like a couple years back, attention is the new currency. As long as you have somebody's attention, you can sell them something. And in this capitalistic world, we're always trying to sell something. So if you don't have somebody's attention, you can't sell shit. So having somebody like him, I thought was really impressive. He's on a house hacking kick right now. So this is Spencer Cornelia. Let me know if you have anything else you want to say about him.
So yeah, I think you touched base, but he does investigation. You know, he'll investigate, people. And I know you see it here, guys, the gurus and all that. And there was a few individuals who I was thinking about too when I was there. I'm like, ooh, I've been hearing something about, this person in Subto. So I was like, these will be good people to look into, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to promote that.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what he does. And people call it clickbait. I agree with Suzanne. I think he should have, like, house hacking. I'm like, it was so mediocre that I think we would have been into like the social media aspect.
I love it. I agree. But I also understand his position is obviously he has, I don't know if it's called clout. He has a following, he has attention, and he's joining a real estate group. So he's going to do his best to talk about a real estate topic. But I am very big on authenticity, and I would have loved for people, I don't want to say stay in your lane, but talk about the shit that you're really great at, because he's really great at YouTube, clearly. Moving on, if we have nothing else. Cool.
Cool.
Henry Washington is from Arkansas, I believe. I very much appreciated him coming out. He had a gorgeous slide deck that he presented, the only one that presented with a slide deck. He has a beautiful family, wife, and 2 kids. And he talked about, I think my takeaway from him, so he presented on how to have success in a direct-to-seller wholesaling business. He's also part of the Bigger Pockets community. I'm not sure why, so if somebody else knows, please raise your hand and say something. But the thing that I really liked about him is he's desperately trying to take care of the seller. So one of the things that he does is he does direct mail marketing. And instead of asking to buy somebody's house, he kind of wants to build a relationship with that person first and say, hey, I'm a newer investor that's getting into landlording / investments. I'd love to, be able to connect with you. How can we do that? And then in the process of doing that, either gets himself another buyer or finds himself a tired landlord that he's then able to buy from. He also presented, again, this is his sexy slide deck. And then he put this one up, and I'll clip this a little bit better, but he actually really liked radio ads. So over the course of 90 days, spent $1,500 in radio ads and then made $235,000. He does AdWords for about 6,000, REI call center, 6,000, direct mail, 3,000. As a wholesaler, I guess that's the JV. And then he also gets referrals from his title company. So all in on marketing to off-market deals, spends about 16,000 and change and makes about $600,000. So he presented, and then I just appreciate his core position of taking care of humans first and then dealing with the dollar second, even though obviously the dollar matters, but it's more of a tool than it is something to worship.
So yeah, and then there was the Jamil and he were going back and forth. Jamil's I think they were taking digs at each other for a quick second, but they're also on Bigger Pockets. And Jamila goes, yeah, dude, you spend $16,000 because you're in Arkansas. And that was everyone was that was a good takeaway, but it's somewhat true. But at the same time, it's great to see what he's doing. And there were definitely nuggets when he goes and sends his direct mail out, which again, I like. And he was saying that essentially I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. But when he's sending the message, it's not, I'm after your house. I want to know how you did it. I want to just sit down with and have coffee with you and talk about how you made it this far. Cause obviously you've done well. So I would love to just buy you coffee. So that's his side approach with how he reaches out to his mom and pop seller. It's pretty good.
Yeah. And self-made as well. So I have a little bit of appreciation for self-made. I just feel like they're more relatable, obviously, because I'm coming from the same background they're coming from. But very much appreciated having him speak. And then he also donated something for the auction as well.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope. Keep
Cool.
moving before we lose.
Jamil Damji, such a good speaker, so engaging, came out with the list on his cell phone, and his speech was how to make $250,000 in a year with your title company. So there are 10 reasons or 10 ways that he does this. Obviously, he also has a podcast. I think it's called Title Talk. He says that he speaks for 2 hours every month, or i.e. every other week on this podcast, and gets paid $60,000 to do so. So on this list that hopefully we can get for you, he talks about how you can make money with your title company, how you can walk in and ask them, how are your, who are your biggest buyers, reach out to them or make an introduction for me, getting referrals from them. He talks about quite a few of this. I have heard him before talk about these things on wholesale hotline or Sunday service. But again, he made a list and then rolled through the entire thing. But he's definitely, obviously his background is astro flipping. And so he's into that micro flipping in the middle of the paper. But he leverages the hell out of his title company to have the kind of success that he has. So again, if we can, we'll try to get that list for you. But yeah, Toombs.
No, one good takeaway that it was not with Jamil, but it's everyone knows Kevin Cho. Kevin Cho has been highlighted. Kevin Cho is he's getting everything he wants in Arizona. He's taking over Pace's steps as far as meetups and whatnot. So a lot to learn from him too if you're doing meetups. But one thing him and I were collaborating on, he was like, I'm coaching him on something. And then he's like, I have a title company. I do the most transactions in Phoenix. That's impressive. He does. And he has title companies just clamoring to give him business, to give him pay for his meetups, pay for his dinners, pay for everything. So pretty cool. And this goes in line with this title company talk. But guys, someone we know and see on TV, on social media and whatnot, and in the Subto community has it. It's happening in the busiest market, one of the busiest markets.
I have there's a regional leader out of Florida. I think his name is Marco. He actually does like a lot of underwriting, and he has like maybe 4 or so regional leaders in Florida, because Florida market is like southern, central, and northern. But he works a lot with title companies, and he has like 600 people coming out to his meetups, and the title company like paying for an amphitheater. And I was like, how much is that? And he's like, I don't actually know. They just pay for it. So leveraging your title company to then put on these events that don't cost you anything, but that you can leverage all this business that you make money on by also filtering it through the title company, because that's how the title company makes money, right? Is doing these transactions. So they desperately want you to complete the transaction, because that's how they get paid. They don't get paid if your deal falls apart, right? So having these meetups, having you meet together, having you, create deals together is definitely a benefit to them. And so he talked about, how is a title company motivated, what they're willing to do, how you guys can make money together. So again, if we can get the list, we'll definitely share that within Subto New England, and then of course with all of Subto in general. Any other questions?
Let's roll.
No? Tooms, you're managing chat, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm hazing.
Okay. Who is Brandon Turner? Does anyone know?
Freakishly tall, looks like an alien in person, and I was scared, but super intimidated.
I can't remember everything this man said, so I need help from any of the
He came in, and I don't know the quote, but he came in right out of the way and he goes, it was a book title. It was like, how to win the love of your life, how to work 2 hours a week, make $1 million a year, get 6-pack abs, and yeah, all while being a superhero or something. It was a book title, but he came in, and that was a funny, everyone got a laugh out of that. But, everyone knows Brandon Turner. Just like Robert Kiyosaki, I attribute him, as a lot of folks were like, I started with his podcast. I started with the Bigger Pockets podcast. And Suzanne, jump in anytime, but from my takeaway he offered a lot of knowledge. He went down a line of just, how to take action. And one of the big things that I took away was, personally, is like, he got away from Bigger Pockets because I think he knew he was making all the money. And now he was on the road to go buy a plane and, realized that, it's not all about money. And of course you're at a different level, but he had told his story on how he came full circle on being there, and he was looking for a plane. And next thing you know, he's here in Montana a few weeks later, because of God and the way, life happens. And he let go of the money. He let go of the salary. He let go of all those things. And his life is on a different trajectory. Again, not hitting all the points, but it was really cool to see, if anyone has known him or quote unquote know him from podcasts, is how he came from how we all pretty much came from, went through, and now he's on the other side. And it sounded like he doesn't even need money. I think he has $1 billion worth of real estate, if I'm not mistaken, which I was blown away. So it sounds like the dude is like killing it even more. And yeah, he was looking to donate all of his money to the same cause, essentially, of child trafficking. And that's how he found himself in front of this party tent, under this party tent. And it wasn't Pace who asked him. It wasn't all these things. It was, again, just fate, trusting the process, showing up, and having the integrity and the vision. And the vision coming true. Manifesting is the word I was looking for. So I hit a bunch of different things, guys, but yeah, pretty powerful.
Yeah, he was powerful. He got on stage, obviously, as Tom said, a man of God. He talked about manifesting that day where he was like, forget, he was doing some sort of research on something. He's like, I'd love to meet Tim Ballard. And like 2 days later, Pace calls him and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm in Montana, say hello. And then he's like, you want to come to dinner? I have Tim Ballard coming. He's like, I am supposed to be here 1,000%. And if you know, he's a little bit of bigger pockets royalty. So for him to be there was really impressive. He has a new journey that he's on. I forget the name of it. It's something tribe, like the higher vibe tribe. That is not it, but it's kind of close.
It's pretty
So
close.
give me some kudos. But he talks about, right, so his book was How to Get Everything You Want. And he says how he gets everything he wants is you think about the ultimate goal that you're after. Excuse me. You think about the goal that you're after, and then you chunk it down, right, into bite-sized pieces. And he goes from the 5-year to the 1 year. He says he really pays attention to his quarterly goals. And the way he gets to his quarterly goals is by doing the daily habits. So he is about, I want to say about like 13 to 15 daily habits. One of that I remember was reading the Bible to his children in the morning. And he says in a week, if he has about 15 habits, I guess 15 times 7 is what, 105? That can't be right. Don't listen to me when it comes to math, even though I'm Asian. But I just remember him saying that in a week, if he can hit 41 of his daily habits, he's having a really good week. So he has this new thing that he's trying to do, which is, I think to a certain extent, have a mentorship or an accountability group of people that are working towards a higher good. And what he's actually trying to do is not make more money for himself. Somebody challenged him at one point in time where he was like, I'm going to make money and I'm going to do tithing. I'm going to give 10% away. And I think this guy's name is Ben. And he's like, well, why not 50%? And he was like, I hate you, get out of my face. But at the same time, when you ask that question of his thing on stage was, I am so good at making money. So why don't I make money and give it away?
That's what you kept saying.
So that's what he's working toward. It inspired me later throughout that night where it's like, okay, maybe I'm bored about making money for myself. Maybe I'm not excited to spend this money, but if I could raise money for a good cause, then maybe that's all I want to focus on is to pour my life into that. And I think that's maybe where I don't know if I don't want to put my words in his mouth, but he has 10,000 units, right? He makes buku bucks. He can buy himself a private jet. And in the process of buying himself a private jet, did he have this conversation of, I technically don't need that. What can I do more powerfully with the money that I have? Why not donate it to a good cause? So that's what he's working towards. He has, I think, like a book, not a book, but like a daily
journal. It's
Yeah.
the intention journal. Yeah. And Mary hit it. She hit vision of your life you went through in the picture of your business. So guys, check the side chat.
Yeah. Anything else in the side chat?
Gordon, so
Reading
good.
numbers?
2 things. Well, first it was called, Suzanne, it was Better Life Tribe. So you were damn close. And then Gordon just said he's on his second life, half of life. And it is pretty true. And I think he's actually my age or younger than me by like a year. So his second life, sure. Like the dude is reborn and reawoken is what I saw. I haven't heard him since he left Bigger Pockets. The Awakening is where we got to. So it was pretty cool to see him. And now it's like Bigger Pockets who is sort of what I was gathering.
Yeah,
Yep.
super impressive. And I think when he talked to, he said, he's like, he's nothing special, right? He's nothing special. He had a big mouth. He started a podcast, started talking to all these people who are actually doing things. And because he's hanging around them, then he starts doing deals on his own, to which now he has 10,000 units underneath his belt and can then, as Gordon said, have a second life in which he gets to do with his life what he wants to do, right? Lead a high quality life with his family and then actually have a huge impact. I think that was the other thing that they talked about was like income, lifestyle impact. And he says, I have the income, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was somebody else, but I have the income, I live the lifestyle, but I have 0 impact. And because of that, I don't feel alive. So I think maybe that was him.
Right on.
Cool. Anything
It was
else in the
good.
chat?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We got his socials on the side.
Cool. Moving on. Oh, Tim Ballard.
There he is.
Holla. So Tim Ballard, from what I read on Wikipedia while getting ready, is he was a Homeland Security guy, because I forget what the actual title was. And he was in charge of like helping stop child sex trafficking. And one day one of his like buddies, colleagues, coworkers said, of all the things that we do, I don't think we've ever saved one life. And so according to Wikipedia, or my terrible memory, that bothered the hell out of him. And from there, one of the next files cases that came across his plate, he became a little bit obsessed with saving that child. And that child, I think, was the daughter in like a brother and sister thing. And so he made it his goal to save her. And because of that, this entire movie, Sound of Freedom, was made based on that story. He is Mormon himself. He put himself in some really dangerous situations where he has to go undercover and change his entire look, befriend pedophiles, get them to confess, stake out things, and do all this like hunting of child sex trafficking predators. In addition to doing a lot of political stuff now going forward, because he's trying to change the behavior of how we approach things, and also change the dynamic in which these events happen. So very well spoken, obviously dedicated a majority of his life to saving quite a bit. I think he said something to the tune of like, stopped 6,000 predators, rescued about 4,000 lives. Really impressive stuff. He went to Ukraine. He's doing documentaries with Mel Gibson. There's other famous people that he knows that have won like Grammys. I'm thinking Grammy and Emmys that have won Grammys and Emmys and Tonys and whatever else you can win. Really cool people. And they talked about, I think, I wrote it down and I don't have it, but one of the things they talked about is he's a great storyteller. He is a storyteller in which he can evoke emotion. And if you can evoke emotion, you can change the behavior, or you can have a behavioral effect. Right. So they also talked about this as a side note for the Closers Olympics. Some of the best closers out there are people that can evoke emotion. If you can help your sellers see a better life, you can get their behavior to change. So they talk about this with
Suzanne,
Tim.
all right, there you are. Your microphone drop out.
No, I was really good. So just think that I was really good. Anyway, I don't know where I dropped out.
No, it was just a moment. I thought you were going to fade out. No, you're good. You hit it.
Okay. But great storyteller, evokes emotion, has now dedicated his life to doing this. Had another charity called, don't remember. The rest, no, don't remember, don't even bother. Had another charity and decided that when he was doing overseas operations, working with other governments, right? Because as soon as these people get close to getting caught, they like leave their country and try to hide. But in working with all these different parties, he said, instead of just raising money for one organization, I'm going to start this like foundation that raises money across the board. And we give grants, or we give money to different organizations that are doing great work. So the one that we raise money for is called the Rescue Fund. It is tied to Sound of Freedom. And then obviously he's going around trying to raise as much money as possible for the efforts that they have. And just for example, they talked about when the whole Ukraine thing happened, there's a orphanage of children that just gets left behind, right? And so I think it was Mel Gibson had asked him, like, was it Mel Gibson? Somebody had asked him, like, what are you going to do about it? And he was like, I don't know that I can do anything about it. And then his wife asked him. And so that was another theme for me of that evening, is powerful women, spouses that are affecting these men that get all these credit, that are doing these huge, glorious gladiator, throwdowns. Very strong women beside them. So yeah, this was a lot of fun to listen to him speak. We saw a sizzler reel for some other documentaries that they're producing. And then going all the way back to him in Ukraine and getting the children out, $500,000 a day to have, I guess, military or professional people go into the war zone and extract the children without dying, right? So that night we raised about $550,000. It pays for one day's worth of that kind of initiative. So, Tooms?
No, powerful. And what I like, it was captivating. Well, I guess we're not going to turn this into that, but it's, guys, wartime and any natural disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, you don't think of these things, but that's when these guys, the predators, come out. They'll go into these war-torn countries, literally bombs are dropping. They're seeking orphanages to go take these orphans, and then they sell them, take them with them, bring them to another country, and then they're gone essentially forever. So as soon as the bombs dropped, that's what Suzanne was saying. Mel Gibson called him, was like, you got to go to Ukraine. There's 6 kids we know about right now. and there's countless more that we know about are 16. So it hit me like a ton of bricks going, wow, like that makes total sense. Those are the things we don't think about. Like, just think about how a foreclosure, someone's going through foreclosure at the time of, you know, oh, it's a down for someone, but it's a positive for someone else. But again, I can't attribute child and trafficking with houses, but it's the same thing. It's like someone's taking advantage of something, but it's not good. And I was floored by that. And then the other thing, the irony of this was, and I wish we can captivate it with a video, but while he's talking about children and whatnot, there are children all around us playing in the grass, and you can see the grass on the right-hand side of the screen. These kids were loving life. They were ages 2 to 10, and all of the different kids of all of the attendees were just having the most innocent, beautiful time of their lives, while inside this tent, the adults are talking about the gravity of like a really, and I was sitting right there and I just couldn't, having 2 girls, and it was heavy to think about. And then just the innocence of these kids that were there. I mean, there was not one kid having a bad time. So yeah, crazy.
I found my notes from that evening. I was like on 2% battery, but this is what I scribbled down. So this guy is the income lifestyle impact guy. He talked about one kid being worth everything. So that's why it was powerful for him to save that one child when he first started this initiative. One of the other slogans that kept coming up is God's children are not for sale. Obviously he's well, not obviously, but he's Mormon. So they talked about his superpowers being emotion, evoking emotion, and also inviting people, constantly inviting people, holding the door open for people to walk through to participate in this. He talked about, my notes are shit. I am so sorry. That's all that I will tell you that he talked about, but he talked about more. I apologize. I wrote down things like download apathetically, coalition, concept builder, providential, light and darkness. I see you not alone, and I hope to do something. So hard for me to make sense of all of that as to what I was writing down. But, when it's happening, you're like, oh my God, amazing. I have to write this down. If you don't mind, I also have the notes on Brandon Turner, which was one of my favorites. If we can go back to that for 2 minutes.
Move forward.
No, it's good.
We're losing people.
Okay, fine. You have to come find me if you want it.
There she is.
Is she on here?
Amy?
But is she on?
That's fine. She was,
I'm asking if she is.
I don't know.
What's the question?
If she's on
Is
this.
Amy on here? It's the auctioneer, guys.
She's part of Subto.
Do we lose someone? Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I can't see anything but the screen.
Okay. So guys, it's the auctioneer. She was on fire.
Auctioneer, hilarious, did an amazing job. A lot of you have seen her before. She did like an auction before community camp. I think they were auctioning off community camp tickets, and she was helping out with that. I think she donates her time to do this. Very entertaining, very short dress, on stage, bending over.
Don't
Was
care.
very entertaining.
The goodies are hanging out and no one cares. Love it.
Yeah, hilarious. Anyway, she did such a good job getting donations, getting people to up the ante. Something I've never seen before is when you sell an auction and like 2 people are fighting for something, you know how she doubles the money? She sells 2 of the same thing. She'll ask the person, can I sell 2 more? Or can I sell another package? And they'll be like, yes. And then she instantly doubles the money. So because of her, they walked out with $550,000 that night, a majority of which Pace donated the proceeds from his book, Wealth Without Cash, $221,000. His first paycheck from Big Pockets all went into the 550. So together with Pace raised 550,000 to give to Tim Ballard for the rescuefund.org.
Yeah, guys. And the one takeaway from this, on top of being fun, it was fun. It was exhilarating. I didn't know that, splitting the auctions was something, and like they'll look at Jamil, can we do 2 tickets, or whoever it was, Vina, can we do 2? That was great. And that the celebrities, they said for the group of people under that tent, call it 300 people, they said raising $500,000, which again, Pace gave about half of that from his book proceeds. They said celebrities would raise about that. With that many celebrities, that powerful of a tent, not just, our little community.
Yeah.
They said they'd raise about the same. So that put it in perspective. And I don't think they were being nice. They put it in perspective on the giving and just say, how about this? Like, all right, so take away Pace's book. There was $250,000 raised with 300 people and, all walks of life. So pretty badass.
Some of the things that were given away is Steelmakers Weekend with Abraham Gray, Day with Abraham. So if you guys saw, I bought that one. That was the one that I donated 10,000 for. But Abraham Gray, if we know anything about him, is a big goddamn deal, right? So I'm happy to donate that. And then later on, I know that because he's worth more, I should have paid more. And I'm in the middle of some things right now, which is why I was like, I don't feel comfortable, but next year I want to change a lot of that. So we'll talk about that more later. Oops, I misspelled her name. Vina Jetty gave away, I think, access to her whole mentorship or all the videos she has recorded. She also did a day with her in addition to her girlfriends. There was a double date at Nobu with Kevin Cho, Pace Morby, and Laura. Jamil, I think, gave a weekend of his oceanfront house. There was another one with the Nortons. They were like, come back to Montana. We're going to have a day full of fun, jet skiing and whatever else you can think of. And that they're the people that know how to have the most fun. So by the end of the night, after all the auctioning went down, raised $550,000 altogether to give to Tim Ballard, the rescuefund.org. It was a lot of fun. Questions, comments, concerns? Oh, so I got the day with Abraham Gray. Obviously, I said we will see more of Abraham Gray later. Would love to have a relationship with him. If not, spend a whole day with him. I will bring all the tofu back at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Moving on.
Amazing.
Day 5. Mastermind at Lake Blaine. This was invite only. So because I bought the day with Abraham, he came up to me and he said, you're going to be my +1 for tomorrow. So there ended up being 10 of us there that I think we were hand invited. And then 3 of us were, they auctioned off tickets to this at the auction. So people paid like $3,700 to be in this room, and there were 3 of them. Lunch we had at the Nortons. While we were doing all that, and this is a bad slide because I edited this. On Saturday, everybody went to Glacier National Park and they ended up doing a scavenger hunt, which is this. So this is everybody. And then a small group of people went to the mastermind at Lake Blaine. And then if your names end with Tuminowski, then you went antiquing with Laura Mother effing Morby. After everything was done, then we came back to the Airbnb, got ready for dinner, and went bowling that night. And this was probably the best day ever day for me. Very high in what I call crackhead energy with no crack.
There was tons of crack.
Yeah, so
Butt crack.
not mine.
I think you told
stuff.
someone, there was a butt crack joke. Oh, I will put out crack in the front, crack in the back. I'll just give my crack away. Suzanne was on a high, guys, and I've never seen her like this. Being a friend that going out there with the intention of, we didn't know what we were going to expect. And let me just freestyle real quick, but like, I was super moved, and I felt like I did get something out of it, but just seeing someone literally change in front of your eyes, going out there with the intention for her and I to like mastermind together. We're going to spend the most time we've ever spent together, living in the same house, doing those things, and really just seeing whatever road takes us, knowing that, we have plans for the future. And then to see us work through some things that we needed to work through.
Yeah.
And then the change, like when she came back, you literally took a nap. You were spent. You go, I'm smoked. We were coming back late. I think it was like 5 o'clock at night. And you were like just getting up from a little bit of a nap because it's mentally exhausting and emotionally drained. And we came on the front porch. I think we all had an adult beverage, and we cried, we laughed, we joked, and then it really got serious. But you got sillier, but got serious at the same time as the night went on. Then we went for sushi. Like you,
right, so
literally, we had to roll you out.
We'll get there, but I'm gonna just say it. The porch was my favorite I think it was my favorite part of all this because it came together on the porch for me. And absolutely what Justin said, I'm not gonna lie, before this happened, before coming out on this trip, and again, or not again, but Justin rolled out the red carpet for me. We did a deal together. I told him don't pay me on it because he saved my ass. He ended up buying my flight. He paid for the Airbnb. Katie paid for the, what do you call that? The Turo, the car rental, which was such a great idea. And then Pace obviously said, don't pay any money, just come. I want you here. And then getting invites, front row seats to everything. Anyway, we'll get to it, but amazing to be able to travel with Justin. And kind of crazy to think that I almost didn't show up just because there was so much stress happening behind the scenes with some other stuff. That I thought what do you call that when you like jeopardize your own shit, when you like kill your own shit?
Yep,
No,
self-sabotage.
no. Let's call it a what is it with the samurai? They kill themselves. It's a name. I forget it. But you
Why
like
gotta
you
be
just
all up in the Asian business? Why can't we just talk about like
on brand, honey, on brand.
always
But I'm just thinking like, you do that at times where you destroy
falling on the
opportunities for
sword?
yourself. But no, that's another thing.
Yeah,
But
that's
almost didn't make the trip.
Ted
Katie
Miller
said-
with the kamikaze.
Kamikaze, thank you.
Ted Miller
Yes.
with the win. Ding 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 ding.
Good boy, good boy.
My partner rolling through one liner.
But essentially, Katie knew I was a flight risk and I was stressed out the entire way. I didn't get to plan and prep for this trip like I wanted to, but it ended up being such an amazing experience. And I think that's the thing that I held on to is that I was going out there to give the entire Subto New England leadership thing away. I knew that's why I got invited. And I was trying to figure out what's the next step going forward in my life. And we're jumping ahead here because I kind of figured all this out at the mastermind, right? So I got into the mastermind because I bought the Abraham Gray Day ticket. Look at my mom and dad, dropping me off at school,
Dropped
being
her off
very
at Jerry's
excited for
house.
me. Very nervous because I spent the entire time with them the entire way through. The night before, we're with Kiki doing playing games. Kiki, her sister, Dustin, and Andrew. Don't even know Andrew's last
Murray.
name. What's his? Murray.
Murray.
Great guy. Had his own voyage on Glacier Mountain, carrying a huge ass rock. Great guy. So the next day, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm like, I'm not trying to be in the spotlight because if you're ever in the spotlight, you're going to get your shit called out. And it's this vulnerability aspect to see yourself or to have somebody see you essentially naked. And there's nothing fun about that. So you're like, shit, I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I know it's the right thing to do. So it's kind of like walking through the fire, right? It's that going all the way back to Jerry Norton's thing. It's about pushing yourself through the anxiety that you're feeling, just knowing you're going to make it out on the other side alive and you're going to be better for it. So whatever is happening, go through it. So the night before Kiki says to me, she's like, oh, don't worry, Jody Evans is going to be there. You're going to love Jody. Me being me, I was like, okay, Jody's got to be a woman. Clearly, that's why I already love them. And it's going to be blonde hair, big boobs. Like I'll know her when I see her. Very excited to meet her. Come to find out, Jody is a man, and Jody changed the trajectory for me on this day. So we rolled up. Abraham Gray, Faith, Cody, the photographer Eric, May, Vina Jetty, no idea, Cody's significant other, the filmographer for Abraham Gray. How do I mute this? I can't. Eric Ballman, that's it.
Yep. Eric.
May, personal assistant, Vina Jetty. Look at her little logo, so cute. Significant other Hayel to Cody, the videographer for Abraham Gray. And then Nick McGrew, AKA Nick the lawyer with Vina Jetty. So those were the people that were there that day. The goal was, I think it was like 9 to 12. They always just say 9 to 12. So like in the morning, let's get together, bring all 7 people together. Let's chop the group in half. I think Nick is technically not included in this because it was Vina, Abraham, Jerry were part of the lineup. So 3 of them took half the group. The other 3 took the other half of the group. And the goal was to do like a quick mastermind and then exchange people and do it all over again, I think, which actually sounds like a terrible idea. So thank God that didn't happen. It ended up being over here. I posted this. This was my group. So I was part of the, I forget his name, another filmographer guy, Bobby Canode. Then we got Jamil Damji, Cody Barton, Pace Morby, as we know. I never met her. What a terrible person. I know. This guy gave a flag. That's all I remember. From Florida, maybe. This is my Jody Evans. Guy from Florida. And that's my group. And then there's me. So we're dying out here in the hot, hot sun, dying. But they're dishing it up. And this is the thing that also kind of blew my mind is these men, multi-millionaires, everybody clawing on them, right, are giving us their full, absolute, undivided attention, right? So I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9? I don't know. Maybe whatever, whatever, no math here. But they're dishing it out. So we're here on the back porch. They're talking about obviously kind of like doing a mastermind or hot seat edition, like where are you at and what are you working on? Cody Barton was talking about the way where Pace is at currently is they're trying to buy, they're trying to buy more businesses, right? That's the next level for them. And so in the process of buying more businesses, they're trying to get their business on lock. So all the C-suite, right? CFO, CMO, COO, the whole 9 yards. And then as they set up this structure, all the new businesses that are coming in, they kind of want to like, what is it when you put the, when you have an overhead projector and you put the transparency on it, whatever that is. Can you see me? No?
I can. I understand what you're saying. You just want to like be transparent?
Yeah, no. It's like you have this framework and as people come in, you line it up to the framework and you attach it to it.
Okay.
Magnify.
Whatever Mario said.
Magnify.
Oh, I don't think it's magnified because you're lining it up. Like this is the ideal framework for a business. And so as new businesses are coming in, they separate it based on, you know, who it needs to go to. So that COO takes on the COO role of the other business because they're already doing their stuff. So it's almost like leveraging their position to then address other businesses with it, but really cool stuff. I don't know how many businesses they bought or how many businesses they're going to buy going forward, but they're definitely on an HR spree. So they said, if you're interested in going out to Arizona at any point in time and you want to work for this division of their company, which is acquiring businesses and bringing them to the next level, that's what they're hiring for. So that's what Cody is focused on, is making sure they get their ship really, really tight. And then as new businesses come on, onboarding them in a sane manner. So that's what they spoke about outside. And then it got so hot, we moved inside, and a lot of you saw this video. So this is me across from Pace, and about like 8 people in the room, I think.
I was outside pacing and crying. Wondering where my daughter was. There's a t-shirt. Good job, Courtney and Dean. No one can hear it, can they?
So this is inside Jerry Norton's barn. And then outside on the deck where it was shaded was the other group. So we went through each person kind of ish one by one, but not in a row, talking about, you know, what's holding them back in their business. So some people are going through a divorce and trying to figure out how to move forward. There are people that have been in the business a long time and they're transitioning out and they don't know how to replace this person. There's a person with young children and they want to spend more time with them and they feel like they're selling out to a certain extent. And then there are people that want to move forward after breaking up with their business partner and having a lot of extreme guilt and like PTSD over that. And then there's me with my bag of problems. So anyway, this is part of the room that was in there. Bobby Canode holding down the fort in the back. And then again, Pace, Cody, and Jamil providing this environment. So this is Jody. This is not big boobed, not blonde haired, Jody Evans, out of Utah, a contractor. He's a wrestling coach. I think what he told me is he coaches about like 400 people. He sends them text messages. He's such a provider. He's such a lover. He's constantly making sure that everybody else is okay in a way where he doesn't get to take good care of himself. And his thing is his thing. So if you ever want to hear the story, you can hit him up. Super, super sweet guy. This man is also a private money lender to Pace. And it's kind of crazy that he ended up being in my room after everything happened, because from the first time I saw him, I knew I wanted to meet him because I knew he was Pace's private money lender. And I was like, what does that look like? The second part was he made coconut cake and put it on, like he made 20, 30 coconut cakes, wrapped it all up, put it in his car and drove all the way from Utah to Montana to put cake on every table. And if you know me, you know I like me some cake. And I was like, I want to eat that cake. And then I ended up eating that cake in the back of the trunk of the Jeep, laying down, eating cake crumbles, and then told everybody, force-fed cake crumbles to everybody else, because that's how good his cake was. He did, I think so far, 1.7 million in business this year. He does some beautiful stuff. I think I saw him doing like metal roofing in Utah. He's having some trouble. And so he was talking about that out loud. And I very much appreciate him because he got emotional. And it's going to make me emotional now, probably. But he talked about, he was the one who
Jody's
had
here,
also.
and you want to be careful not to share too much of someone's personal. Just
No, I won't.
making
I
it
won't.
all right, cool.
So he's cried and he said, I wanted to be in this room so bad that I did everything I could to be here, which was arrive, make cake, do all this stuff, you know, lead with value. But on top of it, I bought the ticket at the auction the last night. And because he started talking like this, it triggered me, my empathetic ass, I lost my shit all over it. And in that process, Jamil is in the room. He's crazy, crazy powerful when it comes to, I think, the things that matter most. Like to me, he gets to the heart of the matter. And one of the things he realized with Jody, that I don't think Jody would mind if I said, is he said, Jody, can I ask you a personal question? Jody, can I ask you about this? Can I offer you some advice? And Jody said, yes. And Jamil essentially said, I feel like you have a lot of guilt over X, Y, and Z, and I would like to do whatever I can do to help you let go of that baggage. And in doing my alarm dog, I'm sorry. And in doing all of that, made me start thinking about my baggage. What's that? And so, yeah, since he started talking and there were like other people that went and they're talking about business and they're talking about different things, I started crying and nonstop crying after that. And so I'm very thankful to Jody, because the thing that was not hitting me is I came on a mission, which was, you know, we've been doing this Subto New England leadership for however long we've been doing it. I've had a front row seat to all of it, because usually I'm in building those stupid spreadsheets and yelling at people to get together and trying to make a plan and get people to execute on it. So I've seen everything up close the entire time. And I know how to give all of that away. So I have this concept of captain, cargo, crew, right? When you're the captain of the ship, there's certain responsibilities and things you need to take care of. When you're crew, you are facilitating that boat. When you're cargo, you are dead ass weight in the back. Nobody cares about you. You could fall off and it'll be fine, right? Do or do not, doesn't matter. But the captain. And so for the longest time, I've been the captain of this ship, and I'm crazy sensitive. I just am. I'm emotional. I'm sensitive. There are reasons for that I didn't realize. And then now I'm having different thoughts after having this experience. So Tooms, I don't know. This is not a normal mastermind, right? Like when you do mastermind / hot seat, you guys just focus on business, or do people talk about like the more human aspect of things, or like personal growth on things?
So there's vulnerabilities, of course, and that's the one thing we want to get through. But I mean, usually there's breakthroughs for certain individuals, and you're in a room of 25 to 55, 65 people. So there's someone who's always getting something and feeling it, or they're there for a reason, or they got, the last mastermind we were blessed. I was blessed to give more to other folks. So, and that impacted like that. They had their moment. Right. And no, I think this one was definitely different. This was more spiritual than anything. It was an intimate, you got value. Only you could have gotten this value. There was a reason why you're in that room. There was a reason why you're there. There's a reason why we were all there. So yeah, I think most of the time business, like the last mastermind too, is like you're doing hot seats. And I warned you going in, dropping you off to go, just be prepared for your business, be prepared to go into a hot seat, be prepared for a microscope, and think about what you need. think about what's wrong with your business, think, more business mind. But you ended up getting something that you really did need. Like Jody needed the same thing. You have to unlock the brain. What's the 95% of it, and they always say this at the mastermind, it's between your two ears.
Yeah.
Everything is mindset and what's between your head or in your head. So yeah, you needed to unlock that. And again, guys, I don't expect anyone to really understand what Suzanne got from this. I know, unfortunately didn't get to hear Jody's story in much of it other than from what Suzanne said in private. But it sounds like those two won the day. They took the cake. No
for
pun
sure.
intended.
No, we took the
And-
coconut cake and then some.
Well, you ate it in the back of a Wrangler at 1 a.m. But no, that's the whole
It was
point of this is you won and you unlocked. And I think
Yeah.
everybody in this room, in this chat, and Jody can be highlighted too if you want to bring them on. But everyone in this community will be better for everyone gaining these wins. These are wins for everybody because then we all get to prosper from them.
Oh, for sure. So one of the things is, so this happened. I'm crying since Jody starts crying, I'm crying nonstop. And he's talking about contractors, something I really can't relate to the way that he does it because he's managing all of this. But I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about Jamil's presence in the room. Again, this man gets to the heart of the matter, which I think is just so powerful. Like Pace is great at having an idea and like bringing everybody to the table and getting that energy flowing. And I just think Jamil is so amazing at honing in on the core aspect of like, what is the ultimate truth? And I'm so impressed by him. So I am very fortunate. Thank God we were not in the hot sun. Thank God Jody is who Jody is. Thank God for Pace holding the room with Cody and Jamil in there, as well as other people that were in the room with me, because going back to Captain Cargo Crew, because I'm captain of this ship, one of the things that I've said to my friends privately is I miss being a participant. I miss growing. I miss having somebody else in charge of me that, I get to fuck around in the car, right? I don't have to be the driver. I want to have fun too. And I miss that. And so this for me was a time for me to participate. And then on top of it, being able to be in the room with Pace as he held the space for me. So once upon a time, I've been through a lot of therapy, 45 minutes every single week. It's a chance for me to just dump on my therapist a lot. And in the process of just speaking out my truth, have I come really, really far. But again, I'm talking to her. So being in this room of peers like this, I think was really special. So this is them, Jamil and Pace. Again, they don't have their phones out. They're not being distracted by the bajillion things that are coming their way. They're giving their full attention to everybody in the room and giving them space to talk. And so again, or not again, but I call this holding space. I used to call it Suzanne therapy. Now I called it holding space. I think it's really important. It's what I want to do as a practice after, but it's also what I try to do when I was hosting the New England accountability calls, is by putting you in those Zoom rooms one-on-one. I'm trying to force the most amount of conversation to possibly happen, because I think when you have the opportunity to speak, it's kind of interesting where your mind goes. All the things that you're ruminating about, all the things that that's holding you up, you might be thinking about it, but you might not be listening to yourself. And so I have a lot of friends that I'll tell them, like, I get pissed and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking do this now. And they're like, duh, you've been saying that the entire time. And I'm like, well, duh, how come you didn't tell me? And they're like, well, duh, you weren't ready to listen to it. So you're talking all the time. You're ruminating about things. You're finding answers to your solution. It's not hitting you. But in this room, having people to hold this space for me, was I able to hear something that came alive in me. And so the thing that ended up transpiring, and we don't have to go into it big time, you can ask me about it one-on-one. I know you're all dying to know, my emotional baggage, and I have no problem saying it, because this for me is a practice in vulnerability, which is something that I talked about during our leadership thing. So again, going all the way back to Subto New England leadership, I really do believe the reason why we are successful is because we talk about what's real. What's the good stuff? What's the bad stuff? What not to do, what to do. And we own it. We own our shit. I mean, this last week, I saw Gordon Thornton owning his shit in the most glorious, powerful way possible. And I'm a very big believer right now. I don't know if it's just because I'm like 36 and this is where I've arrived at in my life, but I'm very big on authenticity. I'm in a position of being a leader, and I don't make everybody happy all the time. And I very much want to do that, but I can't. And there's a chance that I have to bend towards others and make them happy. And what I'm realizing is I have to remain authentic, because being authentic is where my power lies. If I bend for one, then I bend for everything, and then I'm not me. So anyway, going all the way back, I have been a leader, not a participant. I haven't had space held for me like this, by this kind of caliber of people, this space, this environment. And so the message that came out that I was talking to Pace about was that I feel like I lost my joy, that I can do a transaction and I'm not really celebrating it. I'm just like a machine working through it. I don't celebrate when I get a check. I don't celebrate when I spend money on people. It just kind of, I feel like I don't have a lot of joy. And even at the mastermind, I felt like I'm the captain, right? I came with a mission, which was to give everything away. I'm there trying to serve people, tell them things, help them understand things, fix their problems. I'm not there as a participant. And so one of the thoughts that I had that blew me away is that I think, and I knew this going into it, that I feel like I'm operating at 5% of my capacity. I'm not doing everything I could possibly do because I'm not living in joy. I'm stressed out, I'm sensitive, for whatever reason, I have a million reasons why not to do something. And I was trying to figure out the cause of that. And never before had I ever thought that it's because of my relationship with my dad. Like, to a certain extent, a lot of my friends are going to be like, well, duh. But I never thought about it in this way that I thought about it that day. And the thought that I had is I need to have a direct relationship with my dad, because I think it's holding me back in all aspects of my life. So that was my baggage, some problem that I thought I had solved, but really what I had done was compartmentalize it. How to let go of baggage, I don't fucking know. But what I do know is I feel like because of all the therapy that I've been through and all the talking that I've done, that I can usually find out my answer by talking it out or experimenting with things. So that's what I'm going to do, is start talking to my dad, start to have a direct relationship with my dad, start to assert myself, start to advocate for myself, start to express myself with my dad. And I do believe wholeheartedly that that will have a net positive impact on my life, because half this world is men. And so it's time, right? Another thing that I thought was really cool. So the holding space is a big thing for me. Also being seen. I saw this too when we talked about with the Tim Ballard stuff. There was this video of this woman from Bolivia who was talking about when she was younger, her cousin came to live with her and ended up doing what he did to her. And years later, did she realize it was wrong? And when she tried to tell people that it was wrong, they all kind of denied what she said. And she said, even though something terrible happened to me, the simple fact that one day somebody acknowledged me, somebody said, I hear you, I see you, I don't have an answer for you, I don't have help for you. The simple fact that she was seen was so important to her that the next day she can wake up with hope. She doesn't know how to solve her problem, but now she has hope because somebody said, I hear you. Somebody said, I believe you, right? So this element of being seen, I think, is also really important. I think hopefully that's what I do as a leader for Subto New England, because I'm a lurker, I'm an introvert, I will hide in the back as long as I can hide. But somebody, I think it was like Anthony McTizick / Celicia Lope / Clinton Reynolds from The Jump, that saw me and they're like, what's up? What's going on with you? Just talk to me. And from that, did this entire journey of myself kind of transpire, and did I kind of bloom into the person, the nutcase that I am today. But being seen, seeing these people, recognizing them, reaching out to them and saying, what's up, what's going on with you? Because I think as humans, when things get tough for us, we tend to hide, whether it's ego that says, I don't want to admit that I have a problem, or my ego that says, I don't want to admit that I'm not strong enough to solve my problem, or we're just embarrassed and we don't want to put our drama on people, that we try to secretly overcome our problem all by ourselves, even though our problems probably didn't start just because of us, but that's the way we operate. So I think as leadership going forward, that's two things I definitely want to do. I want to hold space for people to tell me what's alive or real or holding them back. And then the second part is just that aspect of maybe holding space. Hopefully I can help others be seen, and in being seen, give them the hope to move forward in whatever direction that they want to move forward in. So with all that said, you know my next steps for myself, which are talk to my dad. But Justin and I, after this, I felt so unlocked, and Justin calls it the awakening. And I felt so free because this was what I had come to Montana for. One, to give away Subto New England leadership, everything.
It
And the
really
second part,
wasn't
and the
that,
second, no, hang on. And the second part, so one, to give away Subto New England stuff. And the second part for me that I went was to figure out my next move, because there are three elements of my life, which is me, right? Me and my significant other. The second part is others, which I include Subto New England in that. And the third part is my business. And in all three elements of me, others, and my business, I was not sure how to move forward. I was thinking maybe I got to get out of Subto New England leadership so that I can focus on myself, because I want to have kids and biological clock, hello. Or I need to, focus on my business and focus on myself. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move forward. I didn't have joy, and I was really fucking confused. So I'm very grateful to Jody being vulnerable in that room, because it helped awaken. He cried and then I cried, and it was game over from there. So I have a new friend. I have a direction forward, and I'm really excited about it.
glad you took a breath, and you
Yeah,
did
go
awesome.
ahead. Thanks. So next steps after that, right? After kind of having that thought in my head and after having that next step forward, I'm so happy because now I know what's going on anymore, and I'm not so confused. So this was all of us. We took a picture before we departed for the day. Then I ran home, took a nap. After the nap, they came back from antiquing. I don't know if you can see this, but they got me a belt buckle. It's the best belt buckle of my life.
She
Anyway,
said she
I'll
wanted
show
a belt buckle, and I searched high and low.
Yeah,
Had the woman
it's-
unlock the glass cabinet twice,
Yes.
little old lady Mildred, and we got
Yeah.
you a belt buckle.
It's bomb.com. It says, let me be a free man, free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade where I choose. I free to choose my own teachers, free to follow the religion of my fathers, free to think and talk and act for myself. Chief Joseph, 1877. And I feel free. So I'm really excited. Justin and I talked on the porch, which is my favorite part of this entire trip, because I feel like it crystallize everything that happened in that room, help me digest it a little bit better. And then because of that, we started having these ideas moving forward about what we want to do. And so those are the things that I want Justin and myself to announce now. What happens from
pregnant.
here on.
We're
What
pregnant.
happens from here on
We're now
forward?
Mormons, the other kind that have multiple wives.
So we had sushi in Montana. That might have been a bad idea. It was really good sushi. Lemon and jalapeno together was fire. We ended up going out to bowling that night, and I had the time of my life. And then Justin and Katie are always a good time anytime they're around. And so hopefully a lot of that energy rubbed up on them. But I had the time of my life at bowling.
There was a
We
good
had to-
group with us that night too. There was Kiki, Shrugs, and Dustin, Heather, everybody. There was a great time. But Suzanne
Heather,
was in
Jessa,
rare
Sarah.
form, but Suzanne, it was good to see you. Yeah, just like
But-
free. You were literally just like when it's not even like hokey guys. You were free, and like the baggage was gone for a moment, and it was really, 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 really fun to see. And then I'm like, you guys, I'll do whatever you guys want. I'll take you wherever you want, do whatever you want, just because of that positivity and momentum that the atmosphere was great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Again, don't expect many people to understand that and to really realize all this either. And I, appreciate you listening to Suzanne because it's pretty awesome. And that's what these things are for. And Jody's here, and I think we should let Jody speak. But that's what these moments are for, guys. That's why you pay for education, why you try to go get more, why you try to go to these masterminds, put yourself in these rooms for a reason. And this is all we ever try to get out of them. Jody's here.
Jody.
Oh, now I'm unmuted. Wow. How to unpack everything you just put down. Yeah, I'm gonna lose it, but the meeting was so intimate, and how the three men there, Pace, Jamil, and Cody, have true concerns to help your life and guide you. For me, that weekend was, I can only put one other weekend above that, and that's one of my girls wrestling in the national tournament. So besides that, you know, I've other people in the room have now reached out to me and thanked me for what I did, and it's like, I didn't really do anything, but you know, I don't know how to explain it to you, how every person in the Subto community that I've ran into are such givers, and seriously, I don't know what I did with Suzanne to connect with her and make that work, but I'm now her battle buddy, and I'm gonna kick her butt into shape to get done what she said she does, and I'm flying out to Boston, and I'll be at your doorstep. So
You're gonna make me want to implode my own path just so you can come out here, but I'd love to see you anytime. And Jody, you didn't do nothing. You were vulnerable, and vulnerable is so fucking hard because you literally have to stand naked in a room where, like, that's one of my nightmares, is like, when you're naked in your dreams and you're just like, oh, this is terrible. That's my real life. I feel like being vulnerable, telling people I messed up here. This is what's going on with me. I'm embarrassed. Like, growing up, I knew being, having daddy issues and being a biological clock kind of chick, media hates that. That's what media says. And those are two things that, like, I'm personally wrestling with. But I also know that kind of like looking at, and I don't want to call it my ugly, but looking at the stuff that I've been trying to like smother down in the corner, I think it's a way of addressing it. I don't know, has Jamil reached out to you about the whole working through baggage stuff, or
no, I didn't get his number and stuff, but I know, like, yeah, it wouldn't take but just a text to do it.
right?
But it's, like I say, it's been phenomenal.
Suzanne, just give it to him.
Yeah. Jody, we got you. Yeah. I need you to work through whatever conversation Jamil is going to have with you, because you're going to bring the tofu back home here to me, and I'm going to be exponentially better for it. But like, that was the first thing I thought of when he was like, okay, everybody can see, like, you got baggage, plus who doesn't have baggage? But then on top of it, how the fuck do you let go of baggage? Right. And so I have this idea in my head of like, yes, I have baggage. It doesn't weigh that much. I'm priding myself on being strong enough to hold it, but in doing so, in holding my dumbass baggage that I don't even want, it's preventing me from other opportunities that I actually do want, that I'm afraid to go after. So I need to learn how to let go of my baggage. And then for me, just knowing that was baggage, because I had no fucking idea. I bet all the guy friends that I have in my life, they're like, oh yeah, totally knew that, whatever. But I didn't know it, and now I know it. So we're working on it over here, but I'm a work in progress. Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jody. Also, that man's going to sell coconut cakes in the future. So if you ever want to do a deal with me, and you want to taste magic, I don't know how to describe something good. The girls were like, oh, it's the butter and the coconut. Bro, it was life-changing. I ate crumbs in the back of a trunk of a Jeep, and I was in heaven. And then I made everybody else stop and eat crumbs with me too. It was that good. So the next thing I think,
I don't know what the great thing is.
don't worry. Your cakes are going to be my closing gift for everything. It used to be my mom's ribs, and maybe we'll just like add that to the package. But my closing gifts are puppies from Lancaster, my mom's marinated meats, Korean meats, and now it's going to be coconut cakes from Jody in Utah. But Jody, love you big time. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
everything. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for making the choices that you made, because now I have you.
Thank you.
Toombs and I want to talk about after all this shit went down and I had like the best day ever day, right? Then we are nonstop. Pandora's box has been opened on ideas. And so we have a couple of things that going forward, we want to roll out obviously to Subto New England, but in rolling it out to Subto New England, we'll roll it out to all of Subto, right? Because we set the standard out here. Toombs?
Damn, girl.
Damn, Gina,
Are we gonna put a vote on what the baby's name's gonna be?
our baby?
We're gonna weird people out. We're just joking, guys. Just joking.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you call that? I shouldn't say that. Religious inception. What was that? I'm a bad Catholic girl. Artificial. No. Immaculate conception.
I
Nailed
never
it.
heard of that. Yeah, fake news. I don't know. But no, for real. It was just it's great. It's anyone who went, anyone who wants to go have an awakening, anyone who wants to do things like that's what we're here for. You got to be vulnerable. So yes, we have a lot of plans. We're going to collaborate this coming week, get a bunch of people together inside of New England. We're going to sit on the beach and like literally just talk and figure out our shit. But in the meantime, you know, Suzanne, I don't know how deep you want to go, but you know, we're talking about collaboration with other mentorships, not even other mentorships, but other communities, accountability groups. So, you know, Pace wants to do a Zoom with in and around accountability, right? All these groups. And he's been trying lately in the last year or two. I've been on the back seat. I've just had the pleasure of being here, but not being in here. So I know what was going on, but didn't have the front row seat necessarily. But now that, you know, we got to work things out and I truly wanted Suzanne to have this as well, as a friend and like counterpart. Now it's like, all right, it's on, right? So, you know, JV things, communities coming together, community challenges, and really just to like promote. And then the last thing I'll say is if you want us to be in your community, if you have a crappy ass community, which we know it happens, all of us need work. You know, I can even speak for my business partner, Ted. And then there was a gentleman, Adam, who was sitting behind me at one of the events, like the Golden Ticket event. You know, he's in a market where, you know, I said, there's many people looking to do something and you just need to take the bull by the horns and go take action. Don't step on anyone's toes. But again, that's another conversation where some people are going to get butt hurt that aren't showing up and doing what they need to do, but just keep being consistent and show up. And we'll work those details out. And I'm talking about communities and accountability groups. Some people take a hold of it and don't want to let it go, even though they're smothering it and not serving the community. But Suzanne, I can ramble on, but I don't know what you had to share is eventually, like, I don't know what you wanted to unleash right now. There's no big like revelation. I don't know.
No, but like it's new to them. So what we have going on is obviously at community camp, we talked about rolling things out in Subto New England. So I have all these ideas of the things I want to copy over, make them, give you templates to use. You'll see everything that we did. I think my message that day wasn't the greatest, was not succinct enough. And essentially my message is it takes work and it's going to be hard, but some of the stuff has already been done, so might as well just march on the path that has already been macheted down for you. There's no need to go, you know, exploring and making your own goddamn path. Just use my shit, right? So we're going to give away all of Subto New England resources. It's already out there. I just need to put it in a PowerPoint. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Probably in like the next 2 weeks, I hopefully will assemble everything. Then we'll have a Zoom and walk through it. All the regional leaders can have it. Anybody who's a leader, period, can have it. Anybody can have it, period. Other things that I want to do. So at the charity dinner, I gave 10,000. 10,000 is one wholesale fee for me. That's it, right? I can give 100,000 because my name is Suzanne and I'm friends with Zahida Vid, who doesn't shut the beep up about doing triple-digit flips every other day. And I've done $100,000 flip. I can do another. I can give all that money away to charity because it was so much fun. auctioning shit off. It feels really good to give things away. So I am now, I posted it before because I was ranting and hyped up, but I plan on next year being in the position to donate $100,000. And if I'm doing something, all of Subto New England is doing it with me. Whether you are my accountability partner and asking me, you know, what's going down, whether you're doing deals with me so that I can make money to give money, whether you want to also contribute to it. So a couple ideas that I have that we need to work together as regional leaders. Most likely I'll open up a bank account for Subto New England. We will collect money. However, you know, we need ideas on how that's going to happen. And obviously I'll do the accounting on it, which is all the money coming in. We will spend money on doing meetups, right? Doing really great meetups. And hopefully we can do what Jamil DMG talks about, which is leveraging our title companies to pay for things. Because the more money I get to save, the more money I get to donate at the end of the year. So if community camp happens at the end of July, then we have like 359 more days for me to raise $100,000, and anybody who wants to participate to also participate in that. I think it's a really fun endeavor. If I do 10% tithing, then technically I need to make $1 million to make shit real for people. Let me explain this. My first year Subto, I made $25,000 easy assignment fee that I split in half. I made $12,500 my first year. My second year, I did a shitty flip in the middle of nowhere that I had no business doing. But I met some really cool people. I learned some really tough lessons, and I lost money that year, but not that much. I think I lost about 5,000 when everything was said and done. I did a whole bunch of deals pro bono because I suck at advocating for myself. And then I put together a leadership team, and then I can advocate for them. This third year so far, I think I made 150,000 between the two flips that I did. And then there's more to roll out. So I know I'm capable of making money. I'm just dead on the inside of not having my joy or not having found my joy, which then made me operate in this really shitty way. You know, I'm operating at 5% kind of garbage. So if my goal is at that moment, I had that feeling of I can give more, I can do more, so why not more? Then I gave myself a year to do it. So going forward, I have a charity challenge that I will be rolling out to Subto New England. I want you to participate with me. I need to do deals together for me to even make this money to give it away. So accountability, JV, and if you want to participate, by all means. It was so much goddamn fun. So we'll roll out some ideas on how to make money, raise money, do more deals together, because that's why we're here. We're here to make money. What you do with your money is your business, but what I'm going to do with it, at least $100,000 of it, I hope to give away at the end of next year, because I think that would be dope AF to roll up with a check to Pace and say, oh, by the way, last year I cheaped out and I'm ready to dish it this year. And not only am I going to dish it this year, but I'm going to dish it alongside my entire posse of Subto New England. Oh, by the way, here's the check from Subto New England. Biatch. I'm not gonna call him Biatch, but you know, that's just, it lives in my heart.
Well,
So-
just knowing how it operates, really, it's going to come down to like who donated, because I know that's typically how you're going to get that invite to. Like there's always a backdoor approach where like, hey, oh, here's the check. Who was it part of? And I'm just speaking freely where I know how they operate. And it's like, oh, cool. Who were like the 10 contributors to that check, Suzanne? It's like, great, bring those 10 with you to this year's challenge, and then you present the check, and we'll just get one of those big, you know, foam checks, not the little one that I got Chelsea.
I know
We're
that's
gonna get
your
one of them big
style,
ones.
so you bring the foam check. I'm bringing a fucking bank check, the real deal, biatch.
Nah,
I'm gonna be
foam checks.
shaking when I hold it. No,
We
I
do
won't.
wires. It's not. It's
I
2023.
know, like, yeah, right. What, I'm supposed to open up a briefcase and let coins fall out. But yeah, so that's the journey that I'm on. I feel a lot lighter. When I was packing, I'm like, let me just give everything away now. Anything that's not serving me, I don't fucking want it. I know my mission. I'm on a roll. So I'm gonna talk to my dad. I'm gonna make money, and I'm gonna give a huge chunk of it away. I'm gonna ask that you join me. No pressure, you do you, boo. But I will ask you to join me, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I already have a friend who commuted too, so they doubled what I'm giving. So already I'm at 100, but I need to make 100 on my own. And then Tuminowski, so we talked about Subto New England leadership. I'll put that together. Everybody can have it. The second thing is my charity challenge, which is a personal goal of mine that I'm forcing everybody to do with me. And then Tooms, do you want to talk about your new office with maybe that pretty little lady sitting behind you?
Well, no, I mean,
Next to
we're gonna have the platform to do this, right? It's gonna be all about community, more giving, more community. We donated, we bought stuff. We donated without purchasing anything. So yeah, and we definitely feel the same thing as Suzanne, like want to give more. So, and when you look around and some the multimillionaires are given where Suzanne, she gave double what multimillionaires were given that night. And kind of infuriated me too. So
I know, let it go.
but of course. So the biggest thing is, yes, we're going to do, I can't do anything alone as well. And Pace says this, but most of the things resonate with me. And for a while, Suzanne and I, and again, I guess we're going to speak like no one's listening, but the conversation that I've been having lately is just, I need to be around, like, I need more stimulation, right? We need more higher levels. And
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with my friends, it has nothing to do with the people I associate with. It's just, I need more stimulation. And, there's certain individuals that I'm doing business with right now that's what I'm seeking for. So now let's do more cool stuff though. Let's collaborate. Let's do podcasts. Let's interview each other. Let's bring people that you might not even, we don't know in this community. So I'm I have this commercial space. We just said no to literally someone was pestering us all weekend to give him the lease. And I've been reluctant because I knew this was going to be the answer. And so we're just like, why don't we just keep our own space? Doesn't even matter. Like,
Wait, can we call it a community office?
so yeah, we're going to try to, we're going to see how that works. Cause listen, this is a business too. And I have businesses above it.
Everyone's invited. I'll make sandwiches.
But listen, we're going to have like a community place. I don't think anyone really has one. Granted, this is in Southern New Hampshire, Southern New Hampshire, so it's not convenient for everybody. But at the same time, we want to have a spot. I think we want to have the spot for everyone to be able to come in. There'll be a keypad door. If you got to have a meeting, you got to do a notary, you want to have a phone call, sit down, do a podcast. I think it's all going to be there. So we'll see how it works. And
I
we're
like
just,
the notary thing. I mean, I'm a notary.
Yeah.
So
Yay!
the place is full of bones from my plumber and friend. Yes, it might be ghosts, but no, that's really it. So we're going to try to elevate this community, guys, locally. And I know there's some people that came in and plugged in from afar and like, so super love you guys and our friends. But we want to interview them. We want to do something. But we need a spot here locally that we can collaborate. I want collaboration. And that's it.
we're gonna have Carolyn in Myron out.
Oh, 1000%. Yeah. Yeah. So happy to meet them. So that's it, guys. Yeah. We're going to have a spot. I encouraged Suzanne. I challenged Suzanne. I said, like, I need you more in my life and more, like, come out of that house, come out of that basement, come out of that Tesla and come show that pretty smile. Right. And be vulnerable and get out there. Cause
Yeah.
everyone was attracted to it and everyone loved it. So, and Dawn Walker, she can definitely come, but she has to, I don't know.
Wear a Patriots shirt.
Yes. Yes. So that's it, guys. Angie.
So slide deck from tonight. I'm going to add in everybody's Instagram tag. That way you can find them. It was a little last minute. I wanted to throw a bunch of SHIT in there. 2 weeks from today, hopefully I can put together the Subto New England leadership packet. I mean, leadership needs it as it is. They only know maybe like 11% of what's in there. And then rest of regional world has no idea. So I have to put that together anyway. We'll probably do a Zoom on that. Please, please, please follow Subto New England. I put everything out on Subto New England because yeah, I'm a cellar dweller. That was the joke that I started that might not have wanted to start because I told Pace, I was like, I left my house for this. And then ever since then, everybody's like, you're a total shut-in, hoarder, eating hot dogs in your basement, cellar dweller. But whatever. What's up, cellar dweller? I'll leave my house for you. But yeah, so that's what we have for tonight. It's 8:41. The practice at the beginning of when I started all this was introductions, a review of the schedule and what went down. Next announcements, which are the office that Toombs wants to launch, which is very generous of him, right? So he has a commercial space that he could be making $8,000 on by the end of the year, and he's going to give all of that up to give us a space. And I told him, bro, it's one wholesale assignment, it's one deal, and you'll make up that money in addition to tax benefits and whatnot. So as a service to him, for the love of God and all things good on this earth, please use the space. I would love to see Tuminowski roll out his brand. He's super, super creative. He has a lot of great energy behind him. And Toombs, I think you're ready for the next level. I think that's why you're feeling the itch to a certain extent and why you're like, I need different people around me. I think you're at the cusp of, you need to take the next leap. And I think this is a really good conduit for that, in addition to his beautiful wife, Katie, who is an all-star power of her own. She does a lot of insurance for our team. Obviously, she's a notary. And Katie, would you like to say anything about the trip? Because you are obviously not, I'm the third wheel, and you are obviously
I'm
a
like,
core member of the Tuminowski
Were you
clan.
the third wheel or was I?
No, I was the third wheel.
I was more of a stage mom the whole time.
You were clutch. What
Super
kind of
happy for you guys.
takeaways did you have from community camp as a spouse? And as a, I mean, you're
Yeah,
in.
I mean,
she's
You
very
haven't been-
involved.
No, but that could actually be something like, if I know I have talked a lot about being the wife of someone in Subto, and I know a lot of people struggle with, their,
Jackie's there too, I think, with Jeremy.
I love her. Hi.
So this
Yeah.
might be
So just in
advantageous for
general,
spouses.
I know a lot of people have talked about it, and it's like, it is a struggle because I think you guys all have this crazy work ethic and mindset, and sometimes we're just off to the side trying to support, but maybe we don't know as much as or you're trying to talk at us and we're not hearing it from you as well. But I think after like 3 years of me saying I'm not going to be involved in this, Gordon knows, like the first day I met him, I was like, no, I'm not interested in this. And now here I am going to Montana, coming home and going like, that was the best trip of my life, So
Yeah.
if anyone is struggling with that, like, I would be more than happy to like be friends with your wife or whoever, because I felt like a struggle for a while myself, but it honestly was the best trip, and I was the third wheel.
No, baby, that was me. I was sandwiched the entire time. Katie Tuminowski, definitely a pillar in our community. Justin Tuminowski does quite a bit. For the longest time, did not have that stupid technical title of regional leader, but has acted like one since the jump. And his wife has been such a tremendous support in all of this. These two people, crazy generous. They bought us like $500 cookies that they probably yelled at each other for, but bought us
I
these
didn't know.
cookies.
He didn't know.
I didn't know what it
Constantly,
cost. She doesn't tell anybody. I don't know.
opening up their pockets to give and continue to give. So they're also the most likable people on planet Earth. I call them the mayor and first lady of Londonderry, New Hampshire. And I planned on like lying to everybody and just telling them like, oh my God, the mayor of Londonderry is here, because they're so mother effing likable. And they're the real deal. I lived with these people. They real, and it was a lot of fun.
We can get into long. Then we like fought her when you and I were fighting one night. Then we were like, Katie, shut up. We're fighting. We need. And then we were like, and we like picked on her.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are the worst. You're ruining this trip. And then they're like, leave us alone. And I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Sometimes you got to have difficult conversations, right?
Yeah.
And I think the good thing that we can do is we both respect each other. I've told Tuminowski from the jump that I am not interested in having a bad relationship with him at all or insulting him. I desperately want to have a good relationship with him, as do I think all of us in Subto New England. We know that we go further together, which means relationships in this business matter absolutely. And when you find somebody of Justin Tuminowski's caliber, you throw down. So absolutely, I value him. I want to make sure that I am respecting our relationship, that I'm doing what I need to do to be a great counterpart in that. And then also maybe our third wheel in regional leadership, which is Zahid Abid, also crazy generous. I've known him for a very long time, and is willing to step up to the plate. So us as regional leaders, obviously having all this energy coming out of community camp and this experience, you're going to see a lot more from us. So I posted in the group, which is, we're here to serve you. We're here to do it joyfully. At least I am now. And we want to do big things. So, you know, make the ask. And then again, I plan on every quarter, if not, raise your hand at any point in time. If you want to be part of leadership, we want to do crazy, cool, dope ass shit. And we can't do that just by ourselves, because I'm not that cool by myself. So we're excited to do things. We're excited to get together. I'm excited to demonstrate to you, like Paige demonstrates to us, what excellent leadership is. And within the next year, I'm excited for all the things that we'll build together.
Yeah, let's open up this community. If you got a bad spot too, and you don't like where you're at, come on in, come hang out with us. Like I said, we want to do deals too. After all, we're all in this business together, but it's fun when it's a joy, right? It's
Yeah.
fun when you can, this, you know, we're hearing bad stories out there too. And, you know, everyone's busy and everyone's got ups and downs, but you know, positivity is where we want. And yeah, let's collaborate. That's the biggest thing. If you got an idea, you want to dish it out, you want to run it by somebody, bring it in. I think, like you said, there's gonna be more growth. And the last thing is, if anyone has access, I'm going to go through the Zooms and look at all the equipment again. I'm going with equipment right now, talking about like camera equipment and stuff, guys. But yeah, we're going to build a studio out. So if anyone has access to like, or knows of someone who might have good stuff that they're not getting rid of, we'll pay for it. But I'm all ears. I don't know anything about it, but it looks like I'm going to learn. So that's the other thing, because we want to set it up and leave it up, and you come in, you know, hit play, and we'll see how that goes. But we're going to try different stuff, and that's it. I appreciate everyone listening to us. You weren't there. It's super tough to listen to someone talk about a story when they weren't there. So Suzanne, questions, you know, did anyone like have something to talk about? They want to get out, or open mic?
Yeah. So just for those that are not here, we used to have these every Thursday. They used to run for like 14 mother effing hours. It was not sustainable. So we have a little bit of a tight timeline that from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night, we get together and we do this. There are always tons of fun, right? Especially when we can be vulnerable and talk about the real shit that's out there and not fucking blow smoke up each other's ass, right? We're here talking about real stuff, getting real help, doing real mother effing deals. But at the same time, sometimes it can become like real estate therapy. And I feel like everybody needs to go to therapy. So sometimes we enjoy hanging out too much together, and we need to go back to the revenue generating activities. So we do have a hard stop at 9 o'clock. What the thing that I didn't get to, which was, so the thing that had the biggest impact on me this weekend was having somebody hold space for me, right? Letting me fill the air. I call it burping the baby, like I have gas and I got to get my gas out. But holding space and being seen moved me tremendously in a way that I've never been moved in before. I've never had that thought. Anyway, we don't need to go there, but it was powerful for me. It's something that I want to do going forward for Subto New England. I think it's something that we used to do back in the day when we were a lot smaller. I have no idea how to do that as a larger group, except to have breakout sessions during our weekly night calls. So again, I used to like to do it one-on-one because it forces the most amount of conversation. Sometimes I know people are like, you know, with babies in the background driving, they can't give their full attention. But I think going forward, I'm going to ask for that full attention, 6 to 9, 3 hours a week. Let's make it high impact. Let's make it worth your while. We'll provide the environment and the canvas for you, but you need to come correct. And coming correct means be authentic, be vulnerable, take risks, right? You're in a safe space. You really are. Because I can say some crazy things to people and not worry that I'm going to get canceled, especially after I'm on stage screaming about Casey Anthony. Didn't happen. I'm fine. Anyway, love you so much. What do we want to do? We got 9 minutes. Throw it in the chat.
Yeah. Anyone else? So Suzanne, going forward, yeah, I mean, we're going to try to do some JV opportunities, some deal stuff, collaboration with other communities. I think the first community that we talked about doing it is Northeast. They're the closest, but
Yeah.
they have to be, and what guys, we're open for like fun. We're going to make it fun.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything else in the chat. So if anyone had something, I know Mario had something. I see Becca in here, Becca Brown from, Utah's in here.
Brown.
So good. She's looking at, doing some leadership stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for
So
keeping-
if we can just touch base on that, since we have 9 minutes, one of the ideas that we had is we're rolling out all of Subto New England juice, right? I don't want to call it the secret sauce because according to Sean Sandville, there is no secret sauce. It's just work, mother effer. But there's also a smarter way to do work. And so hopefully I'm able to provide that for you guys. But in addition to rolling it out, I don't want to just like poop all over you and be like, we're amazing, and then dump on you, because that's not cute. What we wanted to do was kind of gamify it and also make it engaging and exciting for everybody. And so what we were thinking on the flight home was, if we do present all of this stuff, I don't want to just throw it out there and walk away from it. I'd love to put it out there, and I'd love to kind of help you guys get traction with it, such that in 90 days, we can look back on when you first were exposed to Subto New England insider trading secrets. Again, there's no such thing as secret sauce, but if you were given it, how much growth do you have in 90 days? I would love to see that. And so we were having these ideas of like, let's have a competition. Maybe it's kind of like the Closers Olympics, but 2 people showing the way that what were we talking about? Like E staging, 2 people showing how they do lead gen, 2 people showing how they do deep prospecting, and then our communities being able to judge, okay, Northeast takes the cake on lead gen because we just saw for the last 30 minutes how this guy does it, right?
Oh yeah.
So this was
I
the
did
kind
say
of
that.
ideas we were having.
That was, yeah. I was like, what is she talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, I did think of that. Yeah, just being fun. Yeah, let's get your best short-term rental operators in your community. And we were like, here's a template of a home. Like, here's the footprint. Here's the space in 3D. Design it, and then we send it out to Subto for like votes. Guys, it's cool. It's cheesy. But it's also highlighting your community, and you're highlighting your community. You get, good things in return. So yeah, just do fun stuff. So that's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Cool.
Any questions that we have, follow Subto New England. I will send out the slide deck on Subto New England Instagram, because that's where I put everything. In 2 weeks time, the leadership stuff will come out. Hopefully we'll have a better idea as to how we're going to engage the community. If you have ideas, we're open to hearing them. So maybe what we'll do is roll it out in 2 weeks, give them a week or 2 to digest and brainstorm some things. And then maybe we can come up with if we want it to be like regional to regional group challenge, right? I want to play with people. I talked about this on stage where I was like, I'm like the fat kid in the playground. Nobody wants to play with me. I'm too fat by myself, right? So now we need to fatten everybody else up. And then we need to have a fat people party. What's up? So much fun. Sumo wrestling, anyone? I don't know. Let's throw in some, whatever that is, the grease. No, that's a little Middle Eastern. I don't know much about that. Moving on.
Yep. Katie's saying, cut her out, dump her.
No. I have no filter. But yeah, life is fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Hopefully you got some takeaways. And again, we're going to give you everything that we have access to, because we want to be in a room full of the best. And there's really not many people out there like us. So if that's the case, then we need to make each other stronger.
Yeah.
Cool. Time is now 8:55. What do we want?
You hanging for a minute?
I'm hanging. I'm here.
Yeah, if anyone wants to go on, can they unmute?
Sure.
So by all means, guys. Suzanne, we gotta collaborate in some more deals.
Yeah.
We'll figure out like Subto camp. We have a Subto house, but we have a Subto. Who, Becca?
Yeah, I bet you she wants to talk.
Katie's calling you out, Becca Brown.
Hey guys,
What's up?
how's it going? Hey,
How are you?
thank you. Thank you for everything. I appreciate all your transparency about what you guys are doing. And I want to do the same. If there's like a activity that works for me, I want us to be able to like put it all in one place so that you guys don't have to spend 30 minutes on Canva making like a template for an icebreaker, So I think we can all work together that way.
I love it. I think the goal for us is, and we've always been this way, to try to be as transparent as possible. One of the things that I struggle with is I am very like thoughtful and considerate, but too thoughtful and considerate. Like from the jump, I used to never talk to Tuminowski because I was like, oh my God, this guy is like too famous for me. He's too busy. He's too everything. So I was like, let me not bother him. He has a whole wife, a kid, business partners, the whole 9 yards. Too busy. He's not going to give me his time. This man has given me so much of his time because he totally gets what we're trying to do, which is have it all, be the best, have excellence. So I need to be better at being transparent about what it is that I need. I need to be better at leveraging others. I know that you have crazy cool skills in Canva. So if the community needs stuff, like that's the thing that I'm wrestling with is like, it's all over the place, the stuff that I have, like it's in our Discord. Every time I made it at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I would just tell everybody about it and like 3 people would listen to me, but it's all over for the last 2 years in Discord, all over the place. So I'm trying to put it in a way that's like very digestible. And I was wrestling with, do I put it in a PowerPoint? Do I put it in a like a worksheet format? You know, like, do I put it in a notes thing or do I do it in a PowerPoint? And I think right now I'm going to move forward with the whole PowerPoint structure. Because that's what I'm used to from corporate stuff. So, and also I think it's going to be a Zoom. And then if you want to work on making worksheets for people or writing down manuals or whatever it is that the community needs, I don't have all the time to do that. I've already made it and I give it away. My stuff is not perfect. So it might also have to be tweaked to be better. So that's totally possible as well. But my challenge is going to be as transparent as possible, to stop assuming nonsense and to live in reality, right? So I'm going to make the ask. And again, you do you, boo. No love lost, but I'm going to tell you what's going on. And if you want to participate, I'd love to have you participate.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you, Becca Brown.
And then Suzanne, we were going to do something else I forgot that we talked about. Again, we're going to collaborate next week and put it like solidify everything. But also like donations, we'll like do something fun, whether we like rent a house. And I'm not even saying like I'll donate that or whatever. We'll donate it ourselves.
So
it was like
Ari
we'll do
and
certain things.
Yeah, Ari and I were talking about it earlier today. I know a lot of people hit up Z and they're like, the fuck you doing? I want to know everything you're doing. Zahid Abid is probably, in my opinion, our most successful student here in New England. He's super, super generous. One of my best friends. Calm down. You were successful from the beginning and then you became a monster. But I'm talking Z, zero to hero. That's him. He's
just good at having babies.
He's never done another mentor. He has a baby and he's still doing 15 flips at the same time. So there's a lot of people that are seeing him that want to know how he's done what he's done. And so we were talking about, you know, a day with Z. We were talking about with Ari, like again, a lot of the stuff that we do here is we listen to Pace and we go by his example. He's very good at leading by example. So there's not too much to reinvent. And I thought, you know, how fun would it be if we had our own like Subto New England community camp? Because not everybody can make the trip, right? You have dogs, you have businesses, significant others, you have family members that need you, et cetera, et cetera. So if we could do maybe one of our quarterlies and have it kind of like a campy atmosphere, what would that look like? Every event that we do for a quarterly, I want you to have fun because that's when the most amount of magic happens in a room, is when you feel free to play, then you're having real relationships being made. And that's when after the event, you can reach out to each other and start doing deals with one another. So we very much want to bring a lot of that home. Again, there's only so many ideas that we can have. We want you to contribute, and I need to be better about asking for contributions. So every quarter, I'm going to ask for people to join leadership, maybe open up our leadership meetings to the general public once a month for contributions or bouncing ideas. I'm not totally sure. But any ideas you have, send it. Myself, Justin, and Z. I would recommend sending everything to Subto New England on Instagram because we all use that account, or we all have visibility to that account. So please message us all equally there. Thank you so much. Hi, Gray. Can't hear you. I don't know why.
I was on mute. Yeah, well, the next event's probably going to be what, in the fall? And I think that's what we'll do. Like, these events are powerful. Not looking to charge, but yeah, just looking to get, you know, higher level and get the right people in the right room. And then maybe if the proceeds go to that big fund or something, we'll do that. So Angie's coming out. Colorado.
I love me some
And the
Angie.
whole entourage too. Dom, the team, kids, Rachel. Cool. Are you calling it?
Yep, time is 9:01. Love you so much. Get back in there doing those income generating activities until next Thursday. And everybody else, we do these, we make our meetings public. The challenge was to do it once a month to have it open to everybody because people are so curious. You're welcome to come. I try to keep the weekly meetings to New England only, because again, I think it's important for us to hold space, and I want to make sure that we're holding space for us. But once a month, we like to do our meetings public. Stay tuned, Subto New England. All the announcements are made there. I cannot send emails for everything because Google caps me at 500 and then blocks all my emails anyway. So just go there. That's our main channel of communication. Subto New England, Instagram. Follow us. Share it with whoever you want to share it with. I'm done. The end. Have
Good
a good
work.
night.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Thank
Oh.
you.
Bye bye.
Welcome.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Is that Greg Talk?
It was.
I knew it.
Thank you.
Yes. We'll talk more.